You're live.
Are we?
Oh, where's the music?
Where's the open?
My mistake.
Go ahead and roll that. We'll wait.
We want the music.
Yeah.
Okay.
The music is how we know.
I'm like, yeah, what's happening?
We're so disoriented. Do the countdown so we're not
She's like, you're on.
What?
A 3,
A 2, a 1.
a 1. Hey, everybody, welcome to Read This, Read That. I am Jackie Reed.
I'm Joanne Reed. I think. I don't know who I
We're
am.
off to a great start.
Listen, no music? Yes, the music. Don't worry, Karen. We got the music. Karen was like, wait a minute. I know how this show's supposed to go. Where the music at?
Oh. That's like one of those, oh, wait, am I live?
Wait, I'm live? That's how hot mic moments happen, because he'd be like, mother,
Right.
oh, hey, good evening, everyone.
That's so true. It's like, wait a minute, am I on?
Wait, is this mic on? Oh, shoot, it is.
Anyway, hey, everybody, happy Tuesday. Welcome to Read This, Read That. We're so happy that you decided to join us here today for the live and for the rewatch crew. Hey, we love you too. And listen, we got a great show coming up for you today. We have got author, journalist, lawyer, political pundit Sophia Nelson here to talk about her new book. And we have J. Anthony Brown, who is an official cousin by now.
Yes.
Who is coming to join us to talk about the Kevin Hart roast that has so many people talking. Jay, being a comedian himself, has some interesting views on this situation. So we'll talk to him and hear from him on that. And then, of course, we got the issue you need to know and hot topics. So we got a full show today. Good stuff.
We've
Good
got
stuff.
a lot going on. Yeah.
Yeah. And we want to give a shout out to our, why is my phone ringing right now? Sorry. We want to give a shout out to our members and encourage you guys to, all you got to do is hit the join button and come and be a part of the cousin community. We have got our cousin nation. We've got our book babes, and we've got our editorial board. We got so many great things happening that you can be a part of exclusively.
Yes.
Read This, Read That membership. So please hit the join button over on our YouTube channel and join us.
And Amani just did. Welcome, Amani, who just became a member just like that. And don't forget to also hit like and subscribe. Make sure that you're sharing the love. Join the Cousin Nation and expand the cousin family. So please hit like and subscribe. The engagement really helps. The algorithm is a tricky thing, particularly here on YouTube. And so if you're on YouTube, just know the algorithm is watching. It's always watching. And it wants to know if you're engaging, liking, and subscribing. For whatever reason, it likes it a lot. It's very self-centered and egotistical.
It's so true. You're feeling that.
Yeah.
Feeling that love. Listen, and we want to remind everybody who is part of the Read This, Read That book club that our book Reel, our book club pick for the month of May, is for sale in our shop. So head to our store, get the book. Hopefully you have already have read it, or you're reading it, or you're planning to get it today or tomorrow, because our VIP book club meeting is coming up on May 28th.
Yes. So just go to shop.readthisreadthat.com. Yes, we are finally open. The store is open. If you've missed any of the previous books, you can also get those books there. For now, all that is in the shop are books, but there's more coming. And those who are on our editorial board know that there is a lot more really interesting stuff coming. If you want to be in on that inside tea to how this show is put together and to some of the great things that are happening. The editorial board knows what's happening. If you're on the editorial board, you know what's coming.
It's
no one
so
else can
true.
know.
I know. The editorial board, we have really good meetings. And I love the feedback that we get in real time from our board members. Like, they really help us shape our show and so much more. They help us make key decisions on what's going on with Read This, Read That. So if you haven't already, if you're not already a member of our editorial board, go on in there and join. You're going to have fun on the editorial board. We have some good meetings. They get to see how how the biscuits are made. I like to say the vegan biscuits are made. The vegan
I was just gonna be without eggs. How they're made with no eggs. That's
right,
all.
with no eggs.
With no
But
eggs.
still delicious. Love being part of that. Momo D6 said, love being part of that. Yes, Momo
Yes.
D6 is in
Great
with great
ideas. Yeah,
commentary, great
Momo's good.
suggestions, great ideas. Like you guys, I'm telling you, it's a great thing to be a part of.
Yes,
So
we
anyway,
appreciate it.
cousins,
Yes, let's wind down, cuz. What you drinking?
yes, let's wind it down. I do want to remind people though that on June 11th, you have a big event coming up. And I don't know if it's sold out yet or if there are tickets on sale. If they are going fast. Just tell us about that because I'll be there.
Yes.
You on. It's going to be the 1-year anniversary of the Joy Reid Show.
Yeah.
And just tell us where we go to get tickets for that or if tickets are still available.
There's barely any tickets. Last time we checked, there was like 4 tickets left. It's very little tickets left, but there's a little tiny bit left. Apologies because look, by the way, it's at City Winery in New York. They started selling it the weekend before we announced it on the Monday, and like half the tickets were gone by the time we started offering them ourselves. So they went really fast, but there's still like a handful of tickets left. And this is the Joy Reid Show live featuring Godfrey, who's going to be our special guest. We've got lots more other additional special guests and surprises. If you're going to be in the New York area, it's going to be a hoot. We're going to basically do the show live, have a lot of fun, have a lot of laughs, have a lot of cocktails. We've got a special TJRS cocktail. And of course, we'll be serving security. So we're going to have a bar mixing security. So you can taste it. If you always want to taste what security tastes like, you can have it. Of course, if you're Jason, he got his Woodford Reserve bourbon. His favorite thing is a bourbon sour. So for the men folk, there will be a bourbon sour with Jason's special Woodford Reserve mix. So it's just going to be fun. We're going to have a really great time and laugh, and there's going to be music and a DJ, and it's going to be dope. So if you want to go, you can go to live.thejoyreidshow.com, live.thejoyreidshow.com. Yes, Karen, it might be sold out now because this morning it was like 4 tickets or 5 tickets left, but it's like it might be like done and dusted. Sorry.
Oh, can we talk about, I think it's going to be amazing, but I really give a quick shout out to Ms. J. Shawnee 6240, who became a member and gifted 10 Read This, Read That memberships at the same time. So thank you for that and welcome.
Welcome. Thank you, Ms. J. Shawnee 6240. I always want to know what the numbers mean at the end of people's names. That's lovely. We love you. Thank you. We appreciate you so much. I got to shout out Miss Karen Stooks. Karen is a ride or die. She up here with us. She be chilling with us. I love Karen, so I got to shout out Karen. I think she's our soror too, so we got to shout out Karen.
Yes, she is. She said you must come to North Carolina, and I think if all goes well with the show that you're doing in New York, that you're going to probably take it on the road.
This is our proof of concept. Once we get this one wrapped and done, we're going to be looking at where to go next to take the show on the road. I know Atlanta is heavily favored, blessed and highly favored to be the next stop because of course somebody I know lives there. So it's like there may be a little bit of a favor ain't fair situation for Atlanta, but we're gonna go to other places as well. So yes, it's gonna be fun.
Let me steal that decision for you. My mom really has to come to Atlanta.
Oh, I know. I gotta see our mom. I gotta go see our mama. I can't leave our Delta Deer out. I gotta be like, let me go see that lady. She get mad at me.
We love her some.
She ain't getting mad at me.
For sure.
I'm gonna be a good daughter.
I love that. Okay, so what is your wind down for today, man? Because you got a good one.
I got a good one. First of all, I'm drinking. I shouldn't even give them. They should be a sponsor, but Hi-Oh! I'll be drinking my Hi-Oh! Today, I decided to try. I ordered different. I ordered peach mango, and it's really tasty. I'm actually enjoying it. So I'm having the peach mango, and I'm drinking it in our favorite glass, our shared busy bee glass.
It will soon be my glass. I'll be there the end of the month. I'll thank you.
You ain't never coming up here. You ain't never coming up here. She keep on threatening to come up here. She don't come up here. She ain't leaving them cats behind. That's the problem. She got to find a babysitter for 400 cats. So my wind down is, and it is actually, if you're interested in journalism, this is a great lesson in journalism, but also it was like one of the most stressful 48 hours, 24 hours of my life. So what happened is, last week, I showed you guys that I went to this thing called Behind the Scenes Beauty. Derek Monroe, who is one of the makeup artists for The View, he has this annual event where he honors the people behind the scenes who make on air, our on air world possible in the news and media world. And then they honor one in front of the camera person with all the behind the scenes people. So I showed you that last week, have a fabulous dress, blue, blah, blah, blue. So while I'm there, when I went up to give my acceptance speech, I told a story that I have told umpteen times. I told it in Essence Magazine. I've told this story in speeches. I've given this story a lot because, for Black women, we talk about it on this show. Hair and makeup is a serious issue in the media world. For Black women, having hair and makeup that's appropriate to our hair texture, that don't make your hair fall out. And y'all know, if you ever heard me talk about this, that Jackie was basically my hair counselor back in 2012, from 2012 to 2014. I was in distress every day because I was on TV almost every day as a guest. This is before I had my own show, and there was never anybody Black in the hair and makeup room. And my hair was taking a beating. I had never really worn makeup. I'd worn just lipstick, and I had really good skin. And my skin started popping off, breaking out. But my hair was the biggest issue, was that no one knew how to deal with my hair because it was relaxed, but it was like lightly relaxed. I was trying not to make it fall out. And you couldn't wear braids back then. So long story short, one day I tell the story in my speech at Behind the Scenes Beauty when Derek hands me the statue. And I tell the story of how one day I was so fed up when I had actually gotten my own show, the Read Report, and I still did not have a hair and makeup team that could do me where I looked confident, felt confident going on television. Some of the people saying yes, they've heard the story before. And how Jackie, I walk out in the hallway, Jackie and Tamron Hall and I are in the hallway, and I'm just bitching and complaining about how I can't deal with this anymore. And Jackie and Tamron were like, enough is enough. We got to do something about this. So the three of us marched into Yvette Miley's office, who was an executive. She was over Dayside. She was my boss. And, just so happened she's a Black woman. So the three of us marched in there. I didn't do any of the talking. It was them two that were like, nope, this has to end. Make it stop. This lady deserves better. Because Jackie was always the one saying, you need to speak up for yourself. And I was like, I don't want to be rude to the hair and makeup people. She's like, you need to say something. And she would be trying. I would sneak into Jackie's hair person and have her do my hair after they did my hair. I would go get my hair redone in Jackie. So Jackie was the one mainly going through this with me. Tamron that day was, talking about it with me on that day, but I really wasn't confiding with her. I was really confiding in Jackie, whichever way. So bottom line is, I do the speech. I come on, I tell you guys about it here on Read This, Read That. Girl, then come to find, what was this? What night? This had to be Friday night or Friday, maybe during the day. I think I did my show. It had to have been that I got it. Like the story came out and I didn't see the story. This person that wrote the story for Page 6, okay? He wrote the story for Page 6, who I don't even think was there because I don't remember seeing anybody from Page 6 there. Texted me and said, I'm going to write a story about this because I want to give Derek some pub for his thing. Is there anything you want to add to make you get in? And I said, oh, you know what? I would love to get in. In my speech, I didn't mention Johnny Wright because he wasn't an MSNBC artist, but he's done a lot for me. And I was like, can you just throw in that, a big up to Johnny Wright? That was the only thing. He didn't ask me any other questions. He didn't ask me to confirm any quotes. He didn't ask me anything about my speech. So I'm assuming he had a video of my speech because people were taping it. Right. So I'm assuming he already knew the story and just wanted anything additional. So I give him that extra note about Johnny because I love Johnny Wright. He's just a brilliant person. I'm like, how did I not get him in there? I meant to. Baby, I get the news alert, the Google alert. I see the Google alert and I'm like, oh, his story came out. I click on it and it has a giant picture of Tamron Hall at the top. And it says, Joy Reid credits Tamron Hall with getting her a hair and makeup team.
And if y'all, let me interject here to say, if y'all knew Joyanne, like I know Joyanne, the stress that this woman felt because her friend was left out of this whole situation, this stuff like this will drive her crazy. That's how good of a friend she is. But I'm telling you, this kind of stuff drives her nuts. But okay, go ahead.
And I want to say, because I think I called you Sunday, so because I don't think I got it Saturday. If the story came out Friday, I didn't see it because on my show nights, I'm manic. I don't talk to nobody. I can't do it. I have to focus. I have to get the show. So I didn't see the story till I looked at my Google alert the next day. It must have been like the next afternoon. I see this story. And then not only do I see that story in my Google alerts, there's a Yahoo News story written based off it that says Joy Reid cried over her hair. And I'm like, I never said that. I never said I was crying. I just said it was, I described the story, which I've told in public multiple times. So I'm like, that's not even true. So I'm like, let me click on and see if Yahoo News is just on some bullshit. It's literally that page 6 story that has the giant picture of Tamron, no picture of Jackie, and no mention of Jackie. Like, Jackie's not even in the story. The whole story that he wrote is that I went to Tamron Hall for help, and Tamron got me a hair and makeup. Basically, Tamron went and got me hair. That isn't even true, and that's not even what I said. What I said is that those 2 sisters advocated for me as a fellow Black woman, and that empowered me to create a hair and makeup team, and that I cultivated a hair and makeup team because of it. I never said Tamron Hall got me hair and makeup. God bless Tamron, but I never said that. Baby, that was it. I started drinking. And I don't try to day drink, but I started drinking. Because I'm like, what the hell do I do? So the first person I call is our friend Adrian, who Jackie knows, because I know that is the person that knows that writer, because I didn't have his direct, he had texted me. But no, actually, I'm sorry. Before I even called Adrian, I texted the writer because he had texted me to ask for comments. So I had his number. So I text him back and I say, hey, I appreciate that you wrote that story, but I don't like that you cut Jackie Reid out of the story. That is not what I said, and I don't appreciate that you did that. You need to issue a correction. Crickets. No response. I'm like, let me give him some time, because not everybody's in their phone. I'm in my phone a lot. If you text me, I'll see it. Maybe he didn't see it. So now time is ticking. This man is not texting me back. I start drinking. I'm getting madder and madder. And then the drinking makes me even more emotional. I'm very upset. This is like literally destroying my day. So I call Adrian, our friend. I'm like, hey, your boy wrote a story about this incident, this stuff with my hair, and left Jackie out. I am mortified. I need this story corrected. He's not texting me back. And she starts, she's a panicker a little bit. She was like, wait. He's an important journalist. We don't want to panic. Don't overdo it. Don't panic. We're going to figure it out. So then I text another friend of ours, Chris, and I'm like, Chris, you were in the front row of that event. Did you videotape that speech? I need a tape of the speech so I can post it to correct this story, because this man is not texting me back. I don't hear back from Chris right away, because he must have been running, traveling, whatever. He's a business owner, so I don't hear back from him. I'm like, what am I going to tell? So I spent the rest of the day, because I'm like, I sure as hell can't call Jackie. And then I start thinking, start talking to yourself. I say, maybe she didn't see the story. Maybe she don't read page 6. Maybe I could just get him to change it before she sees it. Maybe I can switch it up before Jackie sees it. This is mortifying. Like, literally, I've been friends with Tamron. I'm friends with her, but Jackie and I are like this. Okay. Tamron and I are definitely friends, but Jackie and I talk every day. And I'm like, I can't even face this sister until this story is fixed. I can't move on. I can't even have my day is ruined. I need this fixed. So I'm like, who else can I ask? Baby, when that man didn't text me back, now we're at night. The sun has fallen. I don't even want to, we have group chats in common. I refuse to even text in the group chat. I don't want Jackie to know I exist until this story is fixed. I'm like, I can't even text this sister. I don't even want to talk in the group chats. I am isolating myself from everyone group chat that this sister is in. I don't even want to text in our other group chats that are political, because I'm like, she might see that I'm texting and know that I'm awake. I can't even do it. I have to fix this. Baby, I finally said, I'm going to do it myself. I DIY'd it. So I start the lengthy process of creating a post. And if y'all know, I do my own social media, but I'm very slow. It takes me forever to do a post. I'm working on this post all evening. I'm looking for photos. I'm doing things. I'm on TikTok to make the video right. I'm putting the thing. I'm picking the music. I'm like, okay, that's not the right music. I'm now agonizing. Is this even really well done? Then I'm starting to write my thing, because, I'm an overthinker, and I'm like, this isn't written right. I wrote the thing like 18 times in notes. I use my notes. I'm writing the note because I don't want to make a misspelling. I'm like, this has to be perfect. So I write the thing, because I'm also mindful that Adrian said, don't piss off this journalist, because, you're like, don't fight with somebody who prints ink by the barrel. So she's like, don't get in a fight with this guy. And I'm like, okay, I can't get in a fight, but I got to get correct. So I'm trying to figure out the perfect wording. So I finally hit send at 4:00 in the morning. 4 a.m. At this point, I have drank an entire bottle of champagne. That day, I promise you, I haven't finished a bottle of champagne in a long time, baby. I finished a whole bottle of Moet and Chandon and with Saint Germain. I've drank and not a little bottle, a big bottle. I've
But
drank it all.
that's when I saw it. I had no idea that this was happening until, because I follow everything that comes up on your page, because I mostly repost from your page. That's my content. But I was like, what is this? And when I saw what it was, I of course knew the story. And I was like,
Yes. But I mean,
oh,
you were
that's so
in, but
sweet.
you don't know the story. The story is the third. So can we play the video? Okay, play the video. There's the
This
video.
is Joyanne's. This is what Joyanne did. Look at all the pictures of me in here that she included.
Because I said to him, I said, thank you for doing the story. That was for Adrian that I put the thank you. And I said, but there were 2 women in this store who marched into that executive's office with me. Not one. There's 2 of us. And 2 women who walked there with me. They're Sunny at the thing. And so I put it in there, and then I put this video. And then once I did that, don't you know, first thing the following morning, the brother texted me back. We're gonna correct the story.
But by then, it had gone viral. So many
Metastasized.
other
The
news
Root,
organizations like the
Yahoo
Root
News, The
have
Root. I
printed.
just saw another
Right.
one this morning. This is the lesson I would say, number one, for journalism. A story with facts that are not correct blows up faster than you can contain it.
Yeah.
And even though now there's a correction of the story, the headline is the same, that big picture is the same, and people are picking up the story. And this is to say nothing negative about Tamron. Tamron did walk in that room with me, but not by herself. And we have to not do a thing where we are cutting people out of a story that they are a core and intrinsic part of. And the reality of it is, as much as I love Tam, if it wasn't for Jackie Reed, none of this would have happened, because up until then, there's the whole pre-story of the months and months and months of Jackie showing me a place to go and get conditioned to get my hair. Remember the place with the grass on the wall? I was
Yes.
going in there every week, spending $600 a treatment trying to get my hair. My hair was literally falling out of my head. When I tell you the stress and trauma that I had been going through, and it was Jackie that was going through with me every day. And so it's like, you can't cut this sister out of a story that she was the core part of. And I'm so offended. And I think what happens is journalists will have, it's a something of a bias sometimes, because actually Tam was honored at this event last year. She was the honoree the previous year. So
Right.
maybe she was just in his mind, whatever it was. That ain't what I said. And that is never what I would do. I would never tell a story and cut my dear friend, my soul sister, cousin friend out of a story that she is the main character in. So
Aside from you.
I mean,
No.
aside from me.
But it speaks to your heart, and I love that about you. But my thing is, you could have just picked up the phone and said, girl, there's
Oh,
this
no.
story out here that's incorrect. Like, she avoided me. Like, we're in group text
Baby.
together, and there were some big things happening this weekend, and she's just silent.
And
With
if I don't call, it's unusual for me not to speak to Jackie we speak like pretty much every day. And so I was like, I was like, until they do right by me, I ain't talking to no Jackie Reed, because I'm gonna have this thing fixed by the time I speak to her. And she was the first person to call me, and he was the first person to text. I woke up to a text that must have come at he must have done the same thing with me, because when I tell you that text was at like 6 o'clock in the morning, honey, I woke up, I naturally wake up at 7:30 no matter what. That text was already done. He texted me over. He must have saw that thing go up at 4 and text me at 6. Because he wasn't texting me back before, but he texted me
until
back.
you did your own thing. And I mean, I hate that for me, I hate that you went through so much stress over that, because I know how you are, and your heart, like, I'm telling y'all, this woman has the biggest heart. She is the most considerate person walking this planet. And I am always like, even with the hair, when the stuff was happening with the hair, I'm always like, girl, say something. Say something, because they're there to service you. That's the whole point of it. She didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I'd be like, girl, I'll be in the hair and makeup room, like, what you doing? Oh, no, I was like, do you want to go out like this? This look good to you?
And it's so funny, because I can be super, super mean to Trump and to, people like that. But if somebody's like doing a service for me, I never want to hurt their feelings. Like, if it's a waiter or anybody doing a service for me, I'm just like the opposite of the way I am on TV.
Listen, we
I don't
found
wanna
you a
hurt
place to
you.
go get your hair treated. Because I remember one night I was watching the news and you were a guest, and your hair looked crazy and it was burnt. Like the way that
Burnt.
it was burnt, y'all. Her hair was short, but you could tell, you could just see the damage with the excessive heat that they put on it.
Girl.
I was like,
Crispy.
I could
Wait,
that like that was it.
do you remember the time they sent me back to Florida? They sent me to Miami, y'all. And you didn't even call me first. I think you called me second after Miss Kim. Miss Kim, who still lives in Florida, my little friend in Florida, she called me back and she said, "Girl," and your friends will tell you the truth. They don't be like, "Oh no, you look fine."
Yeah.
She said they look like they dipped you back in some chocolate pudding and pulled you back up. I was like, "Damn, dip my hair in chocolate." They look like they dipped you in chocolate pudding and pulled your ass back up. What is happening with your hair? I was like, she was like, "Do you want me to come send you to my hairdresser?" I was like, "I can't leave the set. It was like a special coverage." She said, "Girl, that's not cute. That's bad."
Girl, I would be in there like if I saw like they picked up a curling iron to do something with my hair, and this is when my hair was permed and pixie, and it was smoking too much. I'd be like, you need to get a towel, wet it, get that steam out, get that heat out. You're not putting that directly on my head.
She didn't
We
play.
weren't doing that. I didn't play.
She didn't play.
And I didn't want that heat in my hair every day. So what I ended up getting was a little bang because I had bangs. I got a little clip in, so they would put the heat in that and not touch my, like I was so.
And she had me get a clip in. She got a clip in, so I got a clip in. I was literally just copying what Jackie was doing because she had a clip in. And if you see some of those things where I have my hair like part in the front, that's a clip in because at that point my hair was so damaged and fried.
Oh my God. It was horrible. And it was like, child. And that's why we had to end up going to management, because a lot of times people assume that you work, and it's not just, where we were at NBC.
It's everywhere.
It's happened. It happened to me when
Everywhere.
I was at CNN. You know what I mean? It happens. And so you have to speak up for yourself and advocate. She used to drive me crazy because she's just so nice. But that niceness also benefits me, as her friend. So
but it was traumatic. I did, and you know what's so messed up, girl? I did all that drinking. I didn't take my Z-Biotics. So, I felt a whole messed up, funky way the next morning. I woke up next morning like,
all that stress when you could have just called me and said, "Girl,
no, I was gonna fix it," but I fixed it.
Without
he did correct the story. I mean, he corrected it, but it's like the correction never helps. Like, so it's like I always say, if you're a journalist, particularly if you're quoting someone or you're quoting an event, make sure that your facts are correct, because you really can. What if Jackie and I weren't friends? What if we didn't really know each other and I told that story?
Like, she done lied and said
she could
that
come
I
out. That's what I'm saying. Like, you could mess people's relationships up. You can ruin relationships. You don't even know what you're dealing with. So just be accurate. It's like, if you're doing a story in a journalistic sense, make sure that your facts are real, because it can be damaging. If we weren't close friends, it would be different. But the fact that this is my homegirl, it was fine. But I don't like it. I was very upset about it. I was like, this is not good. And so that's it. That's my wind down. But it all, in the end, I will say, well, the last thing I will say is, and the reason I was telling that story is what wound up happening is when we were able to pull together a Black centered hair and makeup team. They weren't all Black, but they knew how to do Black hair and makeup. When I tell you, everybody in that building, whether they were white, Black, Asian, whoever, all wanted my team, because we had the baddest little team ever. And so that was when I got to naming all the names of all the people we ended up hiring. So when I tell you, when I lost that show and we went on AM Joy, I didn't have no trouble booking on the weekends, honey. Every woman, white, Black, conservative, right-wing women used to come on my show because they just wanted to look as beautiful as they were going to look when these Black girls was done with these little white girls. They walked out there proud, ready to go on dates.
Because in most cases in these spaces, when the Black hairstylists, makeup artists have to learn how to do everybody. But in most cases, not all, the white artists only have to learn how to do white people. They don't have to learn about how to do our hair textures or even our skin. I mean, when I was at CNN one time and this woman did my makeup, because every time you came in, it wasn't the same. And I'm in there, like I sat in the chair at like 3:30 in the morning. And so the first thing she did with my skin was put like this, almost like this foundation that was this color all over my face. And it had like a greenish hue to it. So I promise you, it was this color. She put it all over. And then she went back in and put brown on top of that. I was like, girl, what? And my makeup time at CNN was like, so I really didn't speak up for myself then, because this is my first time at a network and I really didn't know how to handle it. It's my first time with professional hair and makeup. So I'm just going with the flow, but I knew what I was seeing was crazy. And at that point I hadn't learned how to do my hair and makeup myself yet. Well, I did a little bit, but not like that.
Yeah.
Child, so listen, it's across the board. But
Cameron used to do her own. She used to do her own hair makeup.
She used to do her own because you don't want to deal with it. Well, let me get into
one last thing I will say. There were a couple lovely white ladies that were very lovely. And so I just want to big up the ones who were very good, like Bill G and Tanya. The ones who, there were a couple that really did know how to do it, but it was not.
But it was more who did not.
Yes, there were a few who knew what they were doing, but consistency is what we were looking for. Yes.
Yeah, it was a whole bunch of them who didn't. So
yes,
let's just be good.
Anyway, what's your wind down, girl?
Okay, so my wind down, because Anthony Brown is standing by. So usually we'll do issue need to know after this, but we're gonna jump into hot topics because he's traveling. He's in LA, so we're gonna do our hot topics right after.
Does he have a laptop this time?
Girl, we're gonna find out. I don't know, but he got something to say. But my wind down is, I'm gonna keep it real quick because we want to get to J. Anthony Brown and to Sophia. But girl, I was traveling this weekend, and when I was on the flight, I love watching a movie on the flight. When I tell y'all, write this down. If you have not seen Anaconda, the reboot with Jack Black and Paul Rudd and Steve Zahn, baby, run, do not walk to watch this movie. It came out last year, and somehow I missed it.
It's literally sitting on my Netflix potentially right now, and I went right past it.
Baby, it is so good. When I tell you, my sister went with me on this trip, and she was sitting next to me, and I got my earbuds in, and I'm watching this movie. I was laughing so hard. She was like, she said, the people next to you are watching you and wondering what y'all, all I have to say, it's a comedy, obviously. And if you ever saw the movie Tropic Thunder,
oh my God, I love that movie.
By the same people.
Yeah.
But y'all, this shit is so funny. All I can say is when you get to the part with the pig and the squirrel.
First of all, Jack Black is one of the funniest people on the planet. I love Jack Black.
It is about, I'll just tell you a little bit without giving away anything, but it's about a group of friends who've been friends since they were little kids. And when they were little, they made this movie on their own. And now that they're all grown adults and doing their own thing, they decide that they want to do a reboot of one of their favorite movies, which happened to be Anaconda with Ice Cube and J-Lo and all that stuff. So they decide to do a low budget. Girl, run, do not walk. If you need just something that is going to give you a gut laugh, this movie is the movie. I don't know if anybody in the comments has seen it, but y'all, if you've seen Tropic Thunder, this is on par.
I'm going to watch that.
You have to watch it. I wanted to tell you this weekend, but I said I'm going to wait for the wind down.
Fabulous.
So anyway, that's it. I love to talk about what I'm watching. You have to watch. It's called Anaconda. That's it. It's on Netflix right now. You'll see Jack Black and Paul Rudd in the poster for it, or just Jack Black, because it's the same name as the original movie.
Right.
So it's a new one. Y'all, this shit is so damn funny. Oh my God. Okay.
Okay. All right. I'll take it. Look, all you have to do is say Jack Black, and I'm good.
Girl, and Paul Rudd is one of my favorites. And Steve Zahn, oh girl, my favorites. Okay. So we want to do a little, you ready? You want to do a little basket lather real quick? Oh, we got another new member. Sharon Scott 4351 is now a new member. Welcome, Sharon.
Welcome
to the cousin community.
Welcome to the cousin nation. Love it. All right, well, let's talk about this basket lather time.
Girl, let's
you know
do
what?
It,
I'm telling you, for a long time, as we were just saying, everybody was telling me what to do for my hair. I had no idea. We just went through all the challenges that I've had, and we're talking the dryness. We're talking about dealing with my coils. We're talking about all the things.
Yeah. And so listen, our hair is now more together than ever because of basket lather. And this is, I need to put the paper down because we got notes, but I have to say, they sent us some products to try, and y'all, we fell in love with these products. They
Yes,
are amazing. I love how you're adjusting your hair. So I know for both of us, we love what's happening with our hair, but we want to, oh girl, we got another new, Tinkerbell 67 is a member for the month. Let me stop. Let me go back to basket.
Come on.
I'm
Get
sorry,
back to the basket lather. It's
basket
fabulous.
lather.
Listen, I'm
So
just gonna let y'all know because Jackie playing. I'm telling you, it's made by 2 Black women who were told that their hair would not grow back, that they could not deal with their hair, but they said, nope, nope, nope. We're gonna create something fabulous, and these products are the real deal, honey. Listen. I like the scalp and hair balm. I do it right here on my little edges. It's 100% natural. It's got no petroleum, no lanolin. It penetrates your hair without clinging to your pores, and I like that little spritz, that little hydrating hair mist.
that's my
Listen, Mama
favorite.
Chula, that's what I go. It's my favorite.
That is my favorite. Listen, the before and afters on their site. If you go and check out on the Baskin Lather site, you'll see the results, and they don't lie because we're telling you in real life. Give it about 3 months of consistent use with the scalp balm, and you will see a difference. So explore their viral bestsellers and products of healthier hair of all types. Just go to Baskin Lather. Go to baskinlatherco.com and use the code RTRT for read this, read that. So RTRT for 20% off.
That is right. 20% off at baskandlatherco.com. Code RTRT. Boom.
Boop, boop. That is it. All right. We have done we kept the lights on with that. And without further ado, let's bring our friend J. Anthony Brown to the stage. You all know him. He is family. What is that, Jay? What is that?
That's my artwork. I'm sorry. That's my artwork. I was listening to you guys talk about hair, which I couldn't relate since I'm bald headed. So
you got a mustache? That's hair.
Yeah, I got a mustache.
Where are you at the?
I'm in the lobby. I'm in the lobby of the Hilton in LA. I'm going to the airport, and I want to add on what you're talking about hair. When I worked for Tyler Perry, his whole staff is all African American women and men doing black hair. Now, sometimes they're a little twisted, but that's a whole. I have
a problem with there was that one movie I can do bad all by myself, and I had a couple issues with 1 or 2 of the wigs. I'm just gonna
sometimes the wigs should be straightened up, but there are black people working on them, and I give him credit for that. I appreciate that.
It's hard to do a braid wig. When I see a braid wig,
you know right away. You can tell right away that's a braid wig.
Shamar Moore can get away with a braid. I give him.
No, we can't. No, Shamar Moore fine as hell, but not with a braid wig.
He took that wig.
I didn't know that was a wig. I didn't know that was a wig. I thought it was. I thought it was
Diary of a Man, Black Woman.
Diary of a Man, Black Woman.
He had a braid wig on, and he took it back. Remember him on Young and the Restless? He took that. He loved it so much.
He put it back on.
It made the
now. The Tyler Perry wigs are not to be confused with the Tubi wigs, because that's a whole
totally different problem.
That's a whole
other thing.
Yeah, the wig might change color on Tubi. It's just a whole
fair
and texture, color, texture, lean.
It might walk off. It might walk off the set.
It might. The wig might get up and walk off. It's there, but don't. Yeah, you're listening to the story. Don't get focused on the wig. Watch the story, okay?
And that is the lesson. That is the lesson. It's teaching you how to focus. Your ass needs to learn how to focus. Stop being so nitpicky about hair changing or mustaches being there and then being gone.
He didn't have that jacket on a few minutes ago. Don't worry about that.
Don't worry about that.
Focus on the story.
Is not part of this. Tubi.
Well, listen, we had Jay on because, and I asked him, Jay, thank you so much for joining us. That's why he's, in transit, because we asked him at the last minute. We wanted to talk about the Kevin Hart roast that everybody is talking about because of some of the jokes that were made there that people have deemed controversial.
Okay.
And I just want to set the stage for anybody who hasn't heard about it. You can watch it on Netflix. It happened live on Sunday. It was at the Kia Forum in LA. It was the roast of Kevin Hart, and it featured Pete Davidson, Chelsea Handler, Regina Hall, Draymond Green, Tony Hinchcliffe, who we'll get back to, Cheryl Underwood, and some others. Cat Williams made a surprise appearance to us. I'm sure Kevin, but it seems like they've buried their beef. He and Kevin Hart have had beef for a long time. So it was really, really good, but there was some controversial jokes that were made, and we're going to play one for you here that had to do with George Floyd. Can we play that, Camille?
Got you.
Though, Kevin, the black community is so proud of you. Right now, George Floyd is looking up at us all, laughing so hard that he can't breathe.
Now,
Okay,
Jay,
let me just ask, what do you guys think about the roast itself, just that joke?
F.
just the joke or the
Tony
roast in
Hinchcliffe.
total?
F.
Mhm.
Tony Hinchcliffe. Tony Hinchcliffe could be on fire. I wouldn't throw a
Well,
vial
he's
of
the
water
same
on him.
guy who, during the
Mhm.
Trump rally, made the joke about Puerto
Yes.
Rico being
Yes.
garbage. I'm
Mhm.
paraphrasing.
Racist.
So I think there's a lot of history with people of color and his style of comedy that
Okay.
feels racist. To a lot of people that hear it. But I know, Jay, that there's a lot of backlash going on with comedians that are defending the jokes that have offended defending a lot of the jokes that have offended people. And there's one woman we wanted to play for you, Jay, because she's mad at you particularly. I sent you
Yes.
this earlier. Can we
You
play
sent me
that?
that. Yeah.
Neil?
Aries Spears, J. Anthony Brown, and a plethora of other black comedians are under the comments on black women's post talking about it's just a roast because some black women felt like the anti-black jokes at Kevin Hart's roast were inappropriate, especially right now with all of this congressional redistricting and all of this racism going on. Racist jokes are not funny to the rest of us, but they always gonna be funny to a bunch of fucking coons. It's always gonna be funny to niggas that need, some of them people's money like that enough to let them play in their face like that.
Okay.
J. Anthony
We can let her-
Brown,
we can let her
Aries
talk.
Spears, even
Okay. She goes
First
on
of
and
all,
on. But I sent this to Jay and he was like, what is she
I
talking
didn't.
about?
First of all, I don't take offense to being called a coon. That's not the first time I've been called a coon. That's not the first time. But the problem is, I said nothing about the roast.
I'm like, I didn't see you.
That's why I was listening to your story, Jackie,
Yeah.
when you were talking about them having the wrong information. I didn't go to the roast. I haven't watched the roast. I didn't see the roast. I didn't do any jokes about the roast. And she spelled my damn name wrong. My name is J initial Anthony Brown. Her name is Bondi Blue. I don't know who this woman is. I have no idea what she's talking about. But here, I'm not defending the joke that the guy just did. I'm not defending the joke. I'm defending his right to say the joke. That's what I'm doing. And that's what comedy is. If you don't like it, then you just don't like it. But are you going to take away my right to tell a joke that you don't like? You don't like it. Okay, to move on. That's what comedy is. And I asked Jackie this earlier. Should anybody tell you not to do a story that you think it's interesting? Should anybody tell you that? Nobody should tell you that. Go ahead. I see your hand up.
Yes. Thank you, sir. Thank you,
front.
Professor Brown. My question. So here's my problem with it. First of all, F. Tony Hinchcliffe for life. I promise you,
That's
if he was
cool.
running
Yeah.
in front of a train and I had the
Yes.
opportunity to push him
To
out the way,
push him out of the way.
no,
Yes.
I would just let the train do what it do because
Let him
God
hit
is
it.
good
Right,
and
right,
God
right.
wanted him to get hit by that train. Okay, but
Yeah.
here's my
God
other
put you there
issue.
not to save him. Right.
God put me there to see to the people in the
Just that
train
he gets
they
hit by
were
the
okay.
train. Right.
I
Right.
want to make
Right.
sure the driver and the passengers are okay. Tony Hinchcliffe can get
Okay.
hit by that train. I don't care what happened to that man. But what I would say is Netflix, I have a problem with this because Netflix let that joke go through that really hurt George Floyd's family. They were deeply hurt. His daughter
Right.
is 12 years old and getting bullied in school. So but there was a side sort of joke, sideswiping Melania Trump, where I think Chelsea Handler, they would sometimes roast each other in the back, and they filmed that, and they filmed. I think it was Chelsea Handler saying to Tony Hinchcliffe, the only thing that, you love Donald Trump so much, but the only thing you have in common with Donald Trump is that you opened for Donald Trump one time. Da, 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 da. And that's what you have in common with Melania, right?
Yeah.
You and Melania both opened for Trump one time. They cut that joke out.
Right.
So they felt like it was okay to devastate the family of George Floyd, who, again, I'm sorry, why are we roasting George Floyd? George Floyd was not a famous person. He's not he's a murder victim. So it's like it's funny to roast a famous person. George Floyd wasn't famous. George Floyd was minding his business, going to the store and got murdered by a cop. And now the whole right wing thinks that he is an object of mockery. Why? Are you looking up from even like he's in hell? Fuck you, man. Excuse my language. You in hell. You in hell on earth. It's like, I just don't understand why they think George Floyd is to be mocked. He's not a public figure. He's a murder victim. So that's all I have to say.
Well, here's the problem I have with Netflix. Netflix has really made a lot of money, and this is the problem you have when white people, quote unquote, control black comedy. This is a problem, not with just Netflix, it's across the country. If it wasn't for black comedians and white comedy clubs, they would be closed, every last one of them. We are stronger than they are. We're funnier than they are. We sell more tickets as a whole than they are. But when Netflix controls the medium, they have the decision to make, well, we don't want that joke and we're going to allow that joke. It's all because Netflix controls what comes out of our mouth and who sees it. So that's the problem for me. I have no problem with him doing that joke. I think if you want to do it, You're going to get the backlash. You might even get your ass beat. So that's the problem that you have when you do a joke like that. Somebody might. I used to hear there was a comedian that did a joke and they beat his ass. The joke was, I would eat a steak and spit the bones in Farrakhan's face. That was his joke. He got the ass whooping of life for saying that joke. But does he have the right to say it? Yes, he does. Is there consequences that come with your joke? Yes. So if somebody saw that guy you're talking about out in the pub, they'd probably beat the dog mess out of him. So I'm saying you have the right to say what you want to say because freedom of speech is very powerful. You can't pull back on it when it's something you don't want to hear. And I just think, accusing me of something I didn't say, that's what my problem is, because I don't even know this lady and I said nothing. I wasn't even at the roast.
Well, see, my issue with this is, I mean, Jay, we worked together for years at Tom Joyner, and you were.
There were a lot of times I went over the line. Okay.
Okay, like that time I had that woman who sat in the chair, and you asked her how much she weighed.
Jay, let me ask Jackie. Let me ask Jackie if this was a legitimate question.
You mean Joy? Yeah.
Joy. A lady comes on the show that Jackie brought on.
It was my guest.
It was your guest. But it was open to other questions. She was upset that the nail salon charged her an extra $5 because she was overweight. Because she was overweight. The nail shop, he said, got to pay another $5.
Was her hands bigger? Like what is that?
She was a big lady. She was big. Well,
what does that have to do with her nails?
They
wanted to put an extra charge on the chair. So if you damage it, she was big. On the chair. She was big. So my question, now you tell me if this is a legitimate question. You're on the show because you weigh a certain amount and the nail place is charging you $5.
Right.
My question was, Joy, how much do you weigh?
Rude.
In fairness to Jay, okay.
Let me tell you. Wait, Let me tell you how bad this was. She refused to answer the question, and
she hung up the phone.
She was so upset, and so I called her after. She's in. Like, I get off the radio, I call her. She's in tears. But here's the best part. Tyler Perry got her information and called her because he thought it was in poor taste. And he called her and made her feel so much like he got her number and called her to make her feel better about it. That's how bad we knew it. Jay.
Okay. But that wasn't the only one. There were several. We had
always.
Yeah, we had
always.
Joy, let me tell you this real quick. We had Superhead.
Is still mad at you, Jay.
Teacher, wait, before you tell the story,
go ahead.
Ask one, I just want to say, if they're charging $5 more, isn't it somewhat relevant what her weight is based on to see if that's a fair price?
Not at all. No.
You don't need to know the number. It's not relevant.
Yeah, we do.
He was just trying to be funny. It's not relevant.
Go on, Jay, tell your story.
You just know that she is obese, and we covered that from the beginning. We talked about that. And they did it to anybody that was over a certain weight.
First of all, this is the radio. It's
so
the theater of the mind. You can't. We can't see it.
Theater of the mind.
You were wrong. Anyway, back to Kevin Hart.
All right. Here's another one.
Okay.
Remember the lady Superhead that wrote a book about all her sexual experiences, yada, yada, yada. She put a lot of famous people in there. So she comes on the show. I think it was Jackie's guest again. She always gave me jewels that
They're
I'm
always
waiting.
in my segment, like the Miyaka, the gay guys that wanted to be
Right.
AKAs. They were all in my segment, and he would just
You got to
jump
tell
in
that
there.
story. You got to tell the AKA. This guy comes on. The guy comes on the show and he wants to pledge. He is a gay guy.
He
Right,
was
right.
suing Alpha Kappa Alpha for the right.
Yeah,
They had
yeah.
a group called Miyaka. It was a
Yeah.
group of Black gay men who wanted to be AKAs.
So Tom, who is a Q, asked him, "What would you like to pledge?" And he said, "What did he say, Jackie?"
No,
He
no,
said,
no, because I listened to it again.
Okay.
J. Anthony Brown said, if you could pledge a fraternity, what fraternity would you pledge? And he said, Omega.
Omega.
He said Omega. Okay.
Yeah, and Tom hung up the phone.
Tom said, get him off the air. Get him off the air. You know, Tom's a Q.
Right.
It was, we had fun. And Jay would always chime in, but he always, except for the chair thing, he always would chime in, and with the Omarosa thing. That was,
I was, but the last one was Superhead came on the show. She had written a book about how many men, mostly famous guys, that she had been with. And she wrote a book. So my question was legit. Let me know if this is a legitimate question, because I didn't read the book.
Right.
How many men have you been with?
That's a logical question.
She hung up the phone. She calls
herself Superhead.
Right.
She wrote a book about the men that she's superheading with.
Joe, I'm glad you're on my side. I'm glad you see.
From a journalistic point of view, you wrote a book called that you call. No one's calling you superhead as a slur. It's what you call you.
Yes.
And then you wrote a book about it and put it in a book about you sleeping with the men. So I'm sorry, but I think my first question might have been the same.
Again, Joy, you with me? Again with
I'm with you on this one. Again, I am team J. Anthony Brown. Just Jay, ma'am, lady from Twitter, TikTok. Just a J.
But no, we wanted, let me take it back to Kevin Hart for a minute, because Kevin Hart is catching a lot of heat from people, Jay, and I want to get your opinion on this, because when the George Floyd joke was made in particular, and there were some other jokes that people are offended by, like there's an Epstein joke that targets the victims, but Kevin Hart laughed at the George Floyd joke. And so people are in his comments, because he posted something after the roast, talking about Cat Williams, and he addressed the criticism a little bit, saying, listen, you know, we all love each other. I'm paraphrasing, you know, they're just jokes, you know, there's no big deal about it. But people are so mad because he laughed. If there's somebody, J. Anthony Brown, who says something in your presence that could be considered an offensive joke, and I know for you, no joke is offensive, would you laugh though? Is there something in you that would say, you know what, I don't want to get caught on camera laughing?
I think as a comedian, you have to say to yourself, and Cheryl said this on the show, she said you have to not have a line. Once you have a line, you start to stifle yourself in terms of what you're going to say. I can tell you the most offensive joke that was told to me, and I thought it was funny. Let me set it up. George Wallace and I talk about each other's mama to the hilt. His mom's not here. My mom's not here. His people don't like me. My sister doesn't like him. So my mom passed away. He came to the funeral. And I know my sister's on my right-hand side. Jackie's covering her face because I just told her this today. George is coming up on the left-hand side. I know he's going to say something about my mom. I know that. There's no doubt.
Funeral.
At the funeral. I know this is a perfect opportunity for him to insult my dead mama. So I see him coming up, and he leans in my left ear, and he says, and I quote, "I just came to see if she's dead, because if she isn't, I'm going to kill her." I thought that was funny. I laughed, Joy, I laughed so hard. My sister said, my sister said, what did he say? I said, you don't want to know. You just don't, you don't. Now that, she probably would have whooped George's behind. But to me, that was funny. That was funny. That was
That's
hilarious.
just you.
I think I would have laughed at that too. Oh my God, I
Yes.
agree with
Not
you.
at the funeral, you would not.
Yeah.
You
But see,
overheard
here's the
that.
thing.
It was
Here's
no,
the
you know,
thing.
in that moment you need to laugh. I think when you're so
Yes.
sad, you
Thank
need
you.
somebody to say something funny, and that actually
Break
would
it
have made
up.
me laugh
Yeah.
just because it
Yeah.
But
breaks
get
up
this,
the
Joanne,
sadness.
his family don't, their people don't like George's people don't like Jay,
Right.
and Jay's people
Because
don't
y'all be
like
talking
George
about
because of the jokes that they
right.
do.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
That's how. But Jay,
that's the
listen.
thing. That's the thing. That's the agreement you have with friends. If you have a friend that doesn't insult you from time to time, you really don't have a true friend. Like Jackie told you about your hair. You thought, oh, I'm looking good. You're like, girl, please.
Well,
Your
she
head is
knew,
jacked
and
up.
it wasn't a
And
joke. It
yeah,
was in
and
love.
here's where you
She
need to
said
go to
she
get it
wasn't
straightened out.
Jay, she said she
Yeah.
wasn't joking. She wasn't
It
joking.
wasn't a
She meant
joke.
it.
I had to tell her. No, we
Yeah,
had
but
to have a.
the
We had to
thing
have
is,
a.
she
We
was
had to
so
have a
comfortable.
homicide.
She was so
Wasn't joking.
comfortable. She could tell I could say that to my friend
Yeah.
and not hurt her feelings. And that's what George and I have. I mean, we
Yeah.
do. I mean, it just,
But
yeah.
let me ask you this. So I was in the audience one time when BET did a comedy show, right? And Paul
Mhm.
Mooney was on the stage.
We love him.
And Tracy Ellis Ross happened to be one of the many celebrities in the audience.
He went in.
And he did a horrible joke about Diana Ross. I think it had to do with drinking and driving. I think there was a news story a while back. This was years ago. And it, to me, come on, J. Anthony Brown, that is in poor taste to say something like that about this woman's mother while she's sitting there. And imagine how uncomfortable that is
It's
for
uncomfortable.
her.
But you know what? People have lost jobs. What's his name? Steve Harvey basically allegedly got fired by Kathy Hughes because she told a joke about him, and she literally canceled his show at the LA radio station that then went under because he was the most popular show because she couldn't take a joke. I mean, the idea, you got to be able to take a joke. And
We got
I'm
a guy in the
fine
White House
with
that can't
being
take a joke.
But
He
now you're
cannot
making
take a
his
joke.
but you know
point.
what? My line,
Yeah.
you like you said, you're not supposed to have a line. To me, I think you can punch up at anybody that you want. If you have a dynamic with somebody and y'all talk about each other's mama, I actually think that's legit. It's your dynamic, it's what you do. But to me, what the problem I have with the whole Kevin Hart thing is everybody knows that Tony Hinchcliffe has made his career out of being a whole gut bucket racist. He's not even a comedian. He's not even funny. He just says racist shit and then he starts laughing at himself saying racist shit. In what way? He got a whole special from Netflix. I'm like, about what? All he does is say, ooh, look, N-word. Ooh, look, this person's a monkey. It's like he's just a racist. And like, I'm like, why does Kevin Hart even want that dude around him? If you had done that, if that guy hadn't been a part of it, I probably wouldn't have paid attention to the story. The idea that he would have that guy as a part of his roast, that racist scumbag. I don't want that guy. I wouldn't want that guy in my special if it was me. But that is me.
Here's the thing. There's an audience for whatever it is you say. And that's what we do. That's exactly what we do. We have this ability to look at something. And you do a comedy show and you got 500 people in the audience, somebody's going to be pissed off. That's just comedy. Somebody's not going to be happy with what you do. There are people who come to comedy clubs with the intent.
And everybody, J. Anthony Brown. Thank you, Jay.
My opinion is stay your ass home. Don't come to a comedy show. Don't come.
You don't want to be
because
offended.
it's not your cup of tea. It's just not. Oh man,
yeah,
what happened?
That's
What
Elon Musk. He can't take a joke either. Elon Musk.
Yeah, you know, it's unfortunate. I disagree with Jay. I hear what he's saying and I respect him as a comedian, but I feel like some jokes are definitely inappropriate and in poor taste. I don't think that, you know, you can just make jokes about anything. I don't think that everything is funny, and I don't think that
it is, Jackie. Everything
That's
is
just me.
funny.
I hear you.
Everything is funny.
And here,
everything's
unfortunately,
not funny to you.
Right.
But a comedian has this right to do that. The consequences come with it. You know, I mean, It comes with what you say. Like Trump is saying stuff that we disagree with, but then there are people going, right on. He called that lady a piggy. That's great. And then he turns around and you say something about him, he gets mad. He wants to cancel you. So I'm saying, don't say it, or don't put yourself in that environment if you can't take a joke. Trump cannot take a joke. And
No,
so if you don't like the Kevin Hart roast, then don't watch it. You
I
also
think
have the
that's it.
right to comment on it. You have
That's
the
right. You
right
can
to comment
comment
on
on
it.
it. Don't
Yeah, yeah,
romp it. And I mean, the
yeah.
fact that Trump is trying to have his FCC shut down ABC because he's mad that Jimmy Kimmel made fun of him. Man, like, go sit down someplace and grow up.
Jimmy Kimmel
I agree
goes
with you.
in
You can joke
every
about whatever you
night.
want.
Every night he
Every night.
goes in. Every.
So is Colbert.
So does
And Trump
Colbert.
can't take it. Trump can't take it. But the reality, I'm with you that you have a right to say whatever you want. You're right. I'm a First Amendment. We're gonna say what you want. But there should be consequences.
Yeah,
And I
right.
personally think the consequences for Tony Hinchcliffe is every time he walks down the street, somebody should just get to slap him in the face. Everywhere you go, just a slap. Everybody, they just see
That
him
is
and just,
fair. And with that, J. Anthony Brown, we bid you adieu. We appreciate you. Get home
Thank you.
safe.
I'm
Back
all
to
right.
Love you,
Y'all
boo.
be good. Thank
And
y'all
can
so
we go
much.
Love you,
eat
Jay.
vegan food soon, please, sir? Thank you.
I'm not vegan anymore. I'm back. I'm back with the meat eaters. I'm
I
back.
see.
I'm back.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'll come back vegan in a minute, but right now it's
You need a
you know,
burger.
I need
You need a burger.
Fine. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You
Go
know what I
ahead.
dislike? I dislike the way you vegan people treat meat eaters. I don't y'all some uppity people, right?
Get off the
We
goodbye.
love you, Jay.
Bye,
Bye.
y'all.
Goodbye, sir.
No, bye. And
We
his
love him.
phone was vertical. You see, he can't do right. Every time we bring him on, it's something. It's either the phone is vertical or he gonna got his laptop. He be playing. He's like a boomer.
I can't with him. Listen, we're gonna get to redistricting in a moment. We just wanted to do Jay first, but we have a great guest for you guys today, and I want to bring her up. She's been called one of the most influential women in the world, and she has sat at the intersection of law, politics, journalism, and civic leadership for decades. She's a good friend of mine, so I got to give her props. And she has never been afraid to tell America the truth about itself, even when it's uncomfortable. She's an award-winning author, so many books, journalist, legal analyst, and global voice on leadership, diversity, and civic responsibility. Now she has a brand new book out called Redefining Freedom, Thoughts on Bridging Divides and Renewing the American Promise at 250. It dropped on April 28th, and it is part history, part civic guide, and part a love letter to America. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Sophia Nelson back to Read This, Read That. She is a cousin. She's a dear friend of mine. I've known her forever. Actually, we met on the Tom Joyner cruise.
And by the way, I'm sorry to cut you before I let you say hello, Sophia. Jackie forgot to mention that you can get the book yourself and should in the store. Oh my goodness, Jackie Reed. Let's make sure we sell some of these books and don't just talk about it. You can go to, there it is. Thank you, Camille. Shop.readthisreadthat.com. If you jump into the shop, once we finish talking about this book and you're so excited about it, don't just think about it. Don't just dream about it. Go ahead and buy the book. Go on, Sophia. How you doing?
Hey, girl.
So first of all, I love you ladies, and I really love seeing J. Anthony Brown, and was bitter that I couldn't be on that segment with you. It was like the Tom Joyner morning show reunion with Joy jumping in. And the AKA thing was not funny, however, because that man caused us a lot of problems with their little sorority thing, and we had to sue them. That was like a real thing, Jackie.
Yeah, it was.
So they were serious. They look prettier than some of the AKs. Can I say that as an AK?
No, you cannot.
Excuse me, Sophia. Sorry. Now, can y'all explain to me why y'all had Trick Daddy?
Oh my God.
Wait, let her finish her thought, Joyanne.
Okay,
let her finish her
I
thought about. Let her enter the room.
Joy, you're wrong for bringing that up.
I'm just asking about Trick Daddy. I just
Let
wanted
her
to know.
enter the room, Joyanne. She has.
Go
ahead, Sophia.
So I cannot make a comment on that, right? However, to the point I was making about just, it was great to see you guys and just having some laughter. This is the first national platform I've been on where I get to talk to Black women. So I'm super excited. You know, our mainstream media now, and I don't need to tell you this, Joy and Jackie, we're not very represented. I mean, you've got a couple sisters we can think of, but I've been on all the major shows with more coming, and I haven't talked to a Black woman yet. So I'm really excited to be here, and thank you for that.
Wow, that's so crazy. Yeah, the landscape has changed tremendously. They have laid off and gotten rid of so many Black and brown people in legacy media newsrooms across the country. Really, it is not looking good. It's unfortunate. And then, many of those, I'm not going to say all, but many who remain, whether they're of color or not, they're compromised in so many instances because what they're saying is being muzzled. They can't tell the whole truth. They can't tell the whole story because of business relationships, people being afraid of the administration coming down on them, suing. Trump wants to sue everybody, especially when they tell the truth about him or someone, in his family or whatever. So it really is, you're a journalist too, Sophia. It's an uncomfortable time to be a journalist, particularly if you're working for mainstream media.
A couple thoughts. One, I think that Joy, Don Lemon, who I was on with last week, and Jim Acosta were three of, in my opinion, and I think of millions of Americans, three of the most important voices we had on the major networks. Voices that challenged the status quo, that told the truth even when it was uncomfortable. And it's amazing. You were talking about George Floyd and the distasteful jokes about someone who was murdered, right? Whether or not that's funny or not, we can debate that. But if we look at the climate of George Floyd, where we were and where we are now, they are night and day. And to the book, just briefly, because Jackie, I remember when we would get on a time train, you'd be like, you'd have me on for every book, and you'd be like, girl, sell those books, talk about the book, I got you. So it's not about that as much, and I've been very blessed. The book is doing well. It's made a couple bestsellers, so it's doing great. But the point is that when I wrote this book, I was thinking about the 250th. The semi-quincentennial, right? And what I didn't want to have happen was another book celebrating the greatness of America and the beauty. That's good. We can do that. That's not my book. My book is the book that says we have a very bad situation right now, but what is the path forward? How do we get beyond this? And that begins with a real honest discussion about freedom. Now, I couldn't have planned for the events of the past 3 weeks to happen the way they've happened. When this book was releasing, the Voting Rights Act assault by the Supreme Court, the southern states being the Confederacy has risen again. I live in Virginia, and you saw what our state Supreme Court did. I still have my jaw on the ground that one justice on our state Supreme Court, who was appointed by one of the conservatives governors back in the day, who voted this way, was able to actually overturn an election, Joy and Jackie, while, by the way, Alabama, Louisiana, Tennessee, South Carolina, etc., are undoing maps and getting rid of Black seats in real time and being sanctioned by the United States Supreme Court. Alabama just happened yesterday. Black folks, I need to talk to you for a moment. I'm always the scholarly, smart type. I don't want to be that person right now. The person I want to be right now is you better wake the hell up and realize that we're going back to post-Reconstruction after the Civil War and after slavery. And everything we've gained is now in jeopardy. Everything we've gained in the last 60 years. And the three of us here were babies then, or not born yet, or about to be born at, you're talking late 60s going into the 70s. And, it's in our lifetime, or definitely in our parents' lifetime. And so I am deeply concerned, sisters, with the state of where we are, and our lack of response to it is what has me concerned.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Joanne.
No, I was just going to say that, to me, it will be very difficult to sit down and write about America, given all that you've said that's happening now. But even if you just think about all the things that have happened in our lifetimes, there's been obvious progress, but the recalcitrance of the right, the recalcitrance of the refuseniks, if you put it in sort of Russian terms, are the people who just will never be able to get over the idea that we got out of chains. They just can't get over it. They can't get past it. It really does taint the whole American brand. And so when you sat down to sit and write a book about America, how did you get past that?
Well, I opened the book on Howard's campus on election night because I was there covering for Atlanta Journal-Constitution and for Forbes. And I got a call from our county executive here in Loudoun County, who's a Black woman, Phyllis, a Democrat. She said, we're in trouble. And I said, what do you mean we're in trouble? She said, Harris is struggling to win in Virginia. And I'm like, wait a minute, Virginia's blue and Biden just carried it by 10. I think Harris carried Virginia by 4 or 5. her point was Kane was running 200,000 votes ahead. And this was the case we saw in every one of the battleground states, the states where she should have done well. She was running behind the rest of the ticket that was below her. What does that tell you? It tells you that there was a splitting of votes in this country. As I open up the book and I'm saying, how can it be that America twice, not once, but twice, elected a man who literally on the campaign trail was talking about sharks, Hannibal Lecter, how to be electrocuted on a boat and get away from sharks. I'm not making this up, folks. And his platform didn't exist. If there were theories he had, theories of a plan or something like that he had. And Harris had a plan. Before her, Hillary had a plan. They were smart, intelligent, credentialed. And the country said, nah, I'm going to elect this man who can't even make complete sentences work together, who has now been convicted of 34 felonies, slept with a porn star, but I could go on and on and on. And the country chose that. And that's where I kind of open, because that's where you got to park. You have to ask yourself a hard question. What is going on with America in 2026 now, where Italy has a woman prime minister, Germany has had one, Britain has had 3 females. I can go on and on and on. And in the great United States of America, the beacon of hope and light to everybody, women and people of color are losing rights faster than we can count to 10. We're going backwards. And so for me, the book is about freedom. And the book is about who has it and who does not. And how do we expand it to include all of us? Because 250 years later, it still doesn't include the 3 of us in the way that it should, and include immigrants and other people of color and white women even who vote against their own interest all the time, which I don't understand. And my question to the next generation, with whom I dedicated the book to, is what are you going to do to make this country the country it should be, as it was on paper, as Dr. King said, that promissory note, right? That hasn't yet been paid. You need to pay it. That promissory note that said all men are created equal, not some, not a few, not just white. And that's where we have to begin this discussion, because we haven't gotten there yet. And nobody wants to have that conversation, ladies, while the country is steadily and quickly undoing diversity, undoing equity, undoing inclusion. What is it? 600,000 Black women lost jobs in the last 15 months between corporate and public sectors. Like 300,000 to 600,000 Black women in this country were targeted. We have a serious crisis. And I don't think we're paying attention enough, and I'm deeply concerned about it. So that's what I'm writing about, that urgency.
Let me talk to you about this, because, people may know, if they don't, you're a former Republican. You've left the Republican Party. So I know you can really speak to this. And you're great at reading political tea leaves, like watching the movement, what's going out there. You really study it well. We hear constantly, or consistently, I should say, about people that are MAGA, who are disappointed with Trump. We see people like, Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly, but not just them. We're hearing from actual citizens. There's a whole movement on social media of former Trumpers and this and that. Should we feel hopeful at all that those people are going to leave the party as well, or tip the scale back in the Democrats' favor in some kind of way? Is there enough of a movement of this anti-Trumpism from MAGA that'll make a difference come midterms?
No, that's a distraction. Don't buy into it. What we need to be focused on, particularly as African Americans, our traditional civil rights organizations need to really wake up fast and wake up with a fire under our tail, is that Project 2025, they told you what they were going to do. And I guess we didn't take it seriously. I don't know. I'd love to hear from both of you, particularly Joy, your thoughts, as someone who was on a major media platform as a mainstream journalist. I don't think we took it seriously enough. And if you actually read just the executive summary, they have implemented probably 50% in just the first year or so. Wow. You have to understand, Jackie, and I cannot say this clearly enough, so everybody hear me. They cannot allow the 2026 midterms to go in the direction of the Democrats. Because if they do, they know that there will be a check on that executive power Trump will likely get impeached again, which doesn't matter if he doesn't get removed. But the
Right.
climate as it is right now, talking about tea leaves, the Democrats have had, with Virginia on the table, the Democrats were pretty locked into the majority in the House. Now I don't know, because what the Supreme Court has opened the door to is doing immediate gerrymandering that they're not putting in front of the voters like we did in Virginia. And they're just taking away. You see what Landry did in Louisiana. He just stopped the election and called it
Threw
done.
out the votes.
I mean, just threw them out. You
Yeah.
can't do that. Elections, I don't want to get into my professor hat. The bottom line is this, is that the Project 2025 lays out a roadmap. This time they were organized. And so what I want you to not do, Jackie, is don't get distracted by MAGA, the people at the bottom who are driven by grievance, and they're the Confederacy shall rise again. If you look at the demographics of the Republican Party, it is extremely white. It is extremely working class. It is in different subsets of the country where the electoral college plays well in those red places, right? Because we don't do popular vote in this country as we should. And so if you get distracted by what they're doing, you're missing the bigger plan of people like the guy who is in charge of Palantir and the big tech guys and the defense contractors and the infrastructure that they've set up to take power and consolidate it with the wealthiest few, with those who are very white, very male. Take a look at Trump's cabinet, his advisors, who's running the country and running it poorly. And they talk about DEI. That's the dumbest set of people I've ever seen in my life. WEI, white entitled, right? And so, in my opinion, that Project 2025 is what we really need to be focused on. And how do we combat it and shut it down? And if the Democrats don't take control come January 2027, I don't know what happens. And I'm being very honest now, not being over dramatic here. I don't know if the Republic can withstand another 4 years, 2 years of this. Things are not good. And that's not being alarmist. Just look at the data, look at the gas, look at inflation, look at groceries, look at housing, look at the number of people defaulting on credit cards and student loans and car payments. Things are not good, and they're going to get worse.
Yeah. I mean, and first of all, I'm stealing WEI, white, entitled, and incompetent. I think we need to establish that. I'm a Frank Luntz girl. I think that you got to establish language, which is why I have tried to get people to stop calling it Jim Crow and call it John Crow, because it is John Roberts who's doing it. But yes, I think what you're saying, Sophia, is true, because, and the answer, I think, in part to your question is that Republicans are not, they don't believe in democracy, right?
Not anymore.
They just don't. So, I mean, if you think about it, you live in Virginia, Virginia voted. 3 million people said, let's change the maps. 4 people on the Supreme Court said no. And then 6 people on the US Supreme Court said that that legislators, without asking the people, can change the maps in Alabama, Louisiana, and really any state they want, and in Texas. So they've said you don't have to take it to a vote of the people. You in the legislature, they really do believe in, you're talking about the 250th anniversary. This is the America that began, where legislators don't have to ask people. There is no direct democracy, right? Even senators used to be appointed. So they want to go back to the original Civil War America, and they're doing that. And I think the challenge, and you can speak to this just as somebody who used to be in the other party, when Republicans look at Democrats, they see people who are rules people. Democrats are trying to fight a fascist takeover with rules. They're trying to play within the rules. They're trying to do traditional politics. The reason that I'm not confident about November, just like you're not, is Democrats are doing a rules-based response to something that isn't being done through politics, elections, or rules. It's just a fascist takeover. They have tanks in the streets, metaphorically, and Democrats have a pen and a pen and pad in their lapel.
Did a police state in Minnesota? Look at what they did.
Right. That's what they're doing. They're doing police state. They're doing boot on face. They're not doing procedures. The Supreme Court's not even looking at the Constitution. They're saying, what's the outcome that gives Republicans a majority? We're doing that. And they don't even care what's in the Constitution, because Ketanji Brown Jackson is writing these dissents saying, hey, you know what? That's not in the Constitution. And they're like, F you, we're doing it. They don't care. So what should Democrats, if they were to get outside the rules, what could they do?
Well, I think Virginia was the Democrats' kind of stand, right? Where Louise Lucas and others said, we will match you and we will draw a 10-to-1 map and we will do this. Where the Democrats in my state screwed up, they played by the rules, to your point. They had a great idea of let's match this energy, but then they took it to the voters. They shouldn't have done that. They should have said, we're doing this. We have a super majority, sue us, because the Supreme Court said we can do this.
Correct.
Now what Virginia has done is they let the voters speak. The Supreme Court has done something here in Virginia that is absolutely unconstitutional when you get to a separation of powers and enumerated powers. Again, I don't want to be a professor nerd, but at the end of the day, they've gone to the Supreme Court. I'm going to be really intrigued to see how they vote on this, because Texas did the same thing. Right? It's going to be interesting to see if the Supreme Court.
No, they didn't do the same thing. Sophia, I'm sorry to cut you, but no, Virginia and California did the same thing. They took it to a referendum because they were trying to be rules-based. Texas and the rest of them said, F the people, we just doing this.
Right. You're exactly right. So my point is, Joy, is that you are right on. And let me say this to our listeners because it's important. You have to get involved in your government. It does matter. You are affected by it. And democracy does not sustain itself. Coretta Scott King said this, and this inspired me to write the book. She said, in essence, freedom is renewed and won again in every generation. It is not static. It is not promised. And so I think we as Black people in particular got real comfortable with the gains made in the 60s and the civil rights movement, Reverend Jackson and the Rainbow Coalition, which expanded and, bound us together with other groups. And we diluted our strength as African Americans because we were busy supporting other groups and other movements that, by the way, you don't see them talking right now to help us in voting rights. I say all that to say that we lost our way here. We got complacent. We got comfortable. We thought we had arrived maybe. And we thought we were moving towards a more egalitarian, equal society. Well, surprise, racism has reared its ugly head once again. And my argument, Joy and Jackie, is that the way something begins is usually how it ends. This country started half slave and half free. Look at the census that was done in 1760, go back to 1780 and on and on. In the South, the enslaved persons were more than 30-40%, which brings you to the 3/5 compromise. 3/5 of a person. That's how we were all defined, our ancestors. So what I'm saying to you is, how do you think a country that's founded on that value system, that says liberty for me and not for thee, freedom for me and not for you, and then we finally get it, we get the 13th, 14th, 15th Amendments. They want to do away with due process. They want to do away with the 14th Amendment. I actually now think the Supreme Court will do it. I didn't before. Now I'm suspect.
They will.
I really think they're going to do it now. And then what they're going to say is they're going to narrow it to the former enslaved people, and then somehow tell those of us that are Black, well, you don't fit into that because you weren't enslaved. You see what I mean? It's a circular, dangerous game that this Supreme Court is playing. But I think the last point I want to make is, folks, the way our government was set up, I opened the book with Ben Franklin's quote, "A republic if you can keep it." What he meant by that was this, that in a democratic republic, you have checks and balances. You have 3 equal branches of government. The founders never envisioned ever, if you read the documents, that we would ever come to a day like 2026 when the Congress and the judiciary would watch a rogue executive violate the Emoluments Clause every day, violate things like the Tariff Act and executive powers, the War Powers Act. Trump is running wild and there is no check on him. They never saw that because the way they build our government is, it really operates on a honor system, right? Of we do our job, you do yours, they do theirs. For the first time ever, we've had the system aligned in a way where a rogue executive has been given more power by the Supreme Court than ever. We've seen the decisions, and you're seeing the fallout. So if the Democrats don't take control of the House of Representatives, at least, The Senate was in play. I don't know how that works out at the end, but ladies, if they don't win control of one of the branches of government next time around, we probably get a Republican president again in 28. I don't know if it's going to be Trump. I think he plans on running again, as ridiculous as he is, even though he can't by law do so. We know he doesn't pay attention to the law. They don't care, as Joyce said. So folks need to wake up, and you ladies have been saying that on your show for a minute. I saw the show that you did with, Trump calling Rachel the B word and the way he disrespects Black women and journalists. Things are really not great right now. They're just not.
I got dogs barking in the background, so I'm gonna try to get my question in quick. I'm hearing that, from experts who say that the only hope that we have now, Democrats, of beating Trump, let's put it that way, now with this Supreme Court decision and the state's response to that, is really showing up in the polls, at the polls in really big numbers. But if Democrats, to Joe's point, continue to play by the book, I don't know how they're going to be able to motivate the numbers. I don't think they have the strategy to even shake things up enough to get people to the polls. Like, what advice would you give the Democratic Party at this place? Because I just feel that a lot of people are hopeless that now with the Supreme Court decision that anything is going to work to defeat Trump or, at least limit his power.
So, Jackie, that's an excellent question. And that's exactly what we need to focus on, which is one of the problems that got us to where we are is 50%. And I said 50% of this country doesn't vote in any election. It just doesn't vote. The vote is the most powerful weapon the people have against a rogue government. It's why Dr. King and A. Philip Randolph and Thurgood Marshall and others fought the way they did under pain of death. All of us met and knew John Lewis. You could see the scars in his head from the Pettus Bridge beatdown at Selma. They literally put their blood on the line for us to have that right, because the vote is power. So the path forward is kind of simple. One, the No Kings movement has really been a good movement. That needs to translate into votes and holding Congress accountable by us either blowing up their phone lines, their email, their text, whatever we need to do consistently, where we say, you keep doing this, you won't have a job come next November. We all know that they like being reelected more than anything in the world. They don't care about anything other than being reelected. So I think we have to focus on voter registration, grassroots. But to Joy's point, if the Democratic leadership continues to put out these statements like Hakeem and Chuck Schumer love statements, nobody gives a damn about your statement. What is your plan? Like Virginia, Governor Abigail Spanberger, get yourself together, recall the legislature now, call a special session and tell them to gerrymander that map the way you want it done and push it through and go now. Now we're just like all these other states, and they're the Supreme Court, which can do nothing unless it's sued up to them, in this case, separation of powers, 10th Amendment. But that's what Joy's talking about, folks. The Democrats in my state have an option to fix this. They can call the legislature back right now and just gerrymander like everybody else is doing and say, well, Louisiana did it and Texas did it and Alabama did it. Why can't Virginia, a southern state, do it? So I think that's the path forward. You cannot bring a knife to a gunfight. And that's what the Democrats keep doing. And they're going to have to wake up. And also, I think another point is the treatment of the Black community, which has been the backbone of the Democratic Party's electoral victories, Black women in particular. We're going to have to think long and hard about what we do. And I'd love to get your thoughts on this, both of you, on what we do to, how do we leverage that, given that the Republicans are not an option ever at this point, and the Democratic Party doesn't seem, look at how they treated Kamala Harris. She got the nomination late, but look at how people have talked about her afterwards, and maybe running again. It's not very kind. I would love to know what you guys think, but the way forward is voting, Jackie, and organizing. And 50% of the electorate cannot keep sitting out elections because you see the outcome.
Sorry, I got so many dogs barking here.
It's all good.
It's in
All
stereo,
good.
so I'm muting. But no, I agree with you. I think I think the Democrats need to throw the book away. They need to burn it, and they really need to be radical as they can. You know what you're talking about in Virginia, but everywhere they're always asking for permission and trying to do things. But just do, they're breaking rules over there. We need to break rules too.
Absolutely.
And to me, that's what needs to happen. I talk on the show all the time about how frustrated I am with Democratic leadership and the lack of courage that they have, and these, emails that they send or statements that they make, that are harshly worded. I remember when some of the Dems, I don't know if it was Schumer or somebody who was saying the F word on air, and I'm like, what are you doing? What's the
plan? I think it didn't.
I also think that, there's a whole debate in the chat going on about whether the Dems are too weak or they're going to do it. Is Abigail going to do anything? No. I mean, if I were in charge of the universe, I would do what you said, Sophia. The state legislature and the governor would just call a special session, draw new maps, zero out the Republicans in Virginia. Westmore would order that fool of a state Senate president and tell him, you will not be reelected if you stand in my way. We're zeroing out the Republicans in Maryland. I would get rid of every single Republican in Massachusetts.
I agree.
Every single Republican in New York. I would literally, if y'all want to play, I would play too. But they don't have enough love. They don't have enough affection for Black, for the CBC, for Black voters. They just think Black voters just owe them their votes. So I think the challenge is counting on the Democratic Party, whose goal is to keep blue state Democrats in power in their seats forever. They're not the ones we should be turning to fight. And you can't show up to people who can't pay their rent and can't afford. I just filled my gas tank up. It was like $5.80 a gallon or something today. And people who can't afford to fill their car up, they have $10 and gas is $5 a gallon. They can't get home. They can't afford a bus route. They can't afford anything. People who are struggling, when you tell them register and vote, that goes in one ear and out the other. I think what we need to do as a community is this message of vote blue no matter who. They ain't working for us. And it's not working for a lot of our people that don't vote. The half of people who don't vote, it was 31% voted for Trump, 30% voted for Kamala Harris, and 33% didn't vote at all. That 33% is hard to get at because they're mainly economically struggling. And so what we should be doing is going in these communities, not tomorrow, not right before the election, but now with relief. I think if you come to people and say, what do you need? Let me hook you up. You need rent help. Let's do that. The old Tammany system, people hated the machines. Well, you know what? The machines fed you.
You're right, Joy. Yes.
Right? The machines fed you.
Yes.
The machines got you a job. The machines made sure that you were okay. And then when they asked you for your vote, they'd already given you something. Democrats, what are they giving you? What do you owe them? Nothing. And so I think what we need to start, I don't even think about them no more. If it has to be the Working Families Party that says, you know what, we're not even asking you to register right now. We're coming to you and saying, do you need help with your utility bills? Can we let's get some money behind just helping people survive. And then when we get down to election time and time to register, it'll be more legitimate if somebody who's already been helping you comes to you and says, now this is what I need you to do for me. I just need your vote. And this is what I'm going to get you in return. It's all transactional. Voting is a transaction. It's not a political lifestyle, right? It's not an identity. People have made it their identity. It's not an identity. It's just a transaction. And so what I want is, in exchange for my votes for a Democrat, is I want some things. I'm gonna need y'all to stop giving Israel my money because I need my money in my community because my people can't eat. I'm gonna need you to take that money from them and give it to Detroit and give it to Flint and give it to Selma and Memphis. That's what I'm gonna need you to do. So I'm gonna need that. I'm gonna need a few things, and I'm gonna need y'all to put a Black candidate up in places where you want to put a self-funding billionaire white person. Well, I don't want you to do that. I need a Black woman here. We need to start asking for something in exchange, or we need to bounce. Because I'm like, the Working Families Party is right there. And if they came to me tomorrow with a good offer, I'm going to listen to it. I'm being honest. And so I think we need to be a little more flexible in terms of this identity politics we're doing on our side. Go ahead.
What Joy is saying is old-fashioned grassroots retail politics, where the people used to have the walking around money. I mean, I grew up in South Jersey where you got Camden and Philly right across from each other. And you talk about mob used to run the elections, all kind of shenanigans going on, and they were organized and they would take people food, they would have walking around money, they would do stuff. And what I'm saying is, and what Joy is saying is, in order to be engaged in your democracy, it filters all the way down to the lowest level of, do people have food to eat? Do they have a place to stay? Do they believe that there is a stake in the government that they pay taxes to, even when they don't have money? What is it that I am getting? Everything in this life and joy, we're Gen Xers, but if you go to this millennial and down, they look at life very differently. The kids that are the Gen Y and Z now, they are deeply transactional and they have a very short attention span because of the devices. We didn't have that. We knew how to engage, how to talk, how to connect. That is not the world we live in. And I think, to your point, Jackie, when Hakeem is putting out these 3-page statements, literally a tough statement, or you have another press conference where you just rant and you're trying to rap while you're trying to rant at the president. I mean,
or Cory Booker is going on a book tour.
And saying Trump bad don't work anymore either. Everybody knows he's bad. They know he's a fat, evil, stupid, geriatric man, brain gone. We already know we know everything about him. We know he's corrupt. We know he's stealing. We know.
Thoughts. Joy, I'd love to get your thoughts because we're talking and I think people want to know this too. Why do you think it is that Trump can do everything he does when Bush couldn't have done this, Obama couldn't have done it, Clinton could? What has happened? I'm curious. I know what I think, but what do you think?
I'll jump first because I know Joy will have a more expansive answer. I'll just say it's racism. I think that there are people who the most important, I think there are too many people in this country where the most important thing to them is moving like the majority. Even if they're outnumbered, it's a power that they don't want to lose. And so I think they're willing to look the other way to do things. And so I think a lot of Republicans that are, in Congress, I think they don't like Trump. I don't think that they can stand him, but I think that there are things that they want to get through. I think they wanted to overturn Roe v. Wade. I think they wanted to pull back or really diminish the Voting Rights Act in the way that they did. They have a plan. And they know that there are enough idiots in this country that will blindly follow this man as far as voters. And then that there are enough people who want the power, right, that comes with having this man as president. And then, there are the people who, I just feel like it's racism, but it's all these other things, but it is turning back the clock of time on Black people. That is a goal of so many people. I think there are a lot of liberals out there who voted for Obama and they love Beyonce and, they'll probably, let you have their parking spot and be nice to Black people out in the world. But what they don't want is for their kid to be part of a minority at a school. What they don't want that. And so when they go and pull that lever, they're going to do what they got to do to make sure that they still can operate as the majority, right? They can be as liberal. And I think that that's what happened, what keeps happening when it comes to Trump. That's
I think for his voters, Jackie's 1,000% right. It's racism and envy. Trump, what makes a person, unfortunately, the majority of, 6 and 10, if there are 10 white people standing in front of you, throw a rock at them, 6 of them are Republicans. They're just culturally Republican. Why are they Republican? Because they're for whatever party is the most conservative. What is conservatism? Preserving white rule. And they will literally bankrupt themselves. They will destroy themselves. They will let their daughters lose their bodily autonomy. They'll lose their farms, lose their shirt, lose their homes, lose their business if they can just stay with white power running. White power is such a drug. It's like crack cocaine, and they can't get off it. They will literally vote themselves into poverty in order to maintain white power. But that's the voters. But why, I think your other question, Sophia, is why do the other politicians go along with it? Because a lot of them are racist. That's sure. They're the ones who I think are racist, like the Tom Cottons. I think Lindsey Graham racist. Like, that's just my opinion. I don't know these people, but they come across racist to me. But I don't know their heart, so I don't know. I do know that why they do it and why the Supreme Court, my theory on why the politicians, including the Supreme Court, who are just a bunch of politicians, the Republican ones, why they do it is corruption. The way the mob works is that if you join the mob, you got to kill somebody too. You can't just join a group of killers and you don't kill nobody. If you're not corrupt, you can't be in the gang because you're not dirty. You got to get a little taste. Everybody got to get a little dirty. It's like being in a street gang. If that gang is killing people, you got to kill somebody too. If that gang is robbing, you got to rob too. They're all in the corruption. And they may hate Trump personally. They may think he's garish and gross and disgusting and weird. They laugh at him behind his back. I'm sure they all laugh. I'm sure J.D. Vance laughs at him behind his back. They all hate him. But they know that he is a celebrity who is racist and who keeps the racist base bedazzled and beguiled while all of them are stealing. They're all corrupt. And that corruption can only work if everybody is in on it and everybody's stealing. They're making money betting on companies they regulate. They regulate company X. They know when things are going to change for that company. They throw down some money and they're getting rich. They're all grifting, but they have to grift as a group. And so I include those 6 members of the Supreme Court. I assume they're all on the take. Everyone's grifting, and you got to grift together.
Story the Atlantic did, and it was followed up by a lot of other outlets. Justice Roberts is a fascinating figure. One, his mentor was Rehnquist. He came into fruition as a young guy at DOJ when Reagan first took office. So he's always been against the Voting Rights Act. In fact, it was one of his first assignments at DOJ. That's number one. Number two, his wife is one of the most influential K Street lobbyists, as quiet as it's kept, who financial reporting showed they kept something like $10 million.
Correct.
They didn't report it the way they should, and those cases were coming before the court, and he didn't recuse himself. So your point, I bring that up to say Joy's not just calling people corrupt. She's not just shooting from the hip. What we're telling you is there is, from the day this country began, there was a systemic process to keep Black people oppressed financially, physically in bondage, emotionally, every way you could think about until we were freed. Then there was this Jim Crow that happened, which was another 100 years of a different type of bondage. And now in the 21st century, you've got the regression of rights bondage, as I call it, which is affirmative action destroyed, DEI destroyed, anything voting rights now destroyed. Civil rights has got to be next. And like I said, they're going to come for Loving versus Virginia and the same-sex marriage. They got to chop.
Not Loving though, because that's going to mess with Clarence money.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is Loving is the basis by which they passed the Supreme Court case on same-sex. And I don't remember, I think that's Hodges, right? Or something like that. But the bottom line is that what I'm saying is they've got to chip it away, to your point, Joy, because the truth is Black people still haven't achieved parity. If you look at the pay gap right now for Black women, forget everybody else. Black women would take us 232 years. I said 232 years to achieve pay parity with white males for the same education, same job. That wage gap and the wealth gap is expansive. The average white family in this country has about $200,000+ worth of what you call wealth or assets. Black families, it's about 40-something thousand, right? So, and it's even lower for Hispanics and others. So my point is that I don't get what my fellow white citizens are angry about, and I mean this sincerely. Corporate America is still run by 90% white males in the Fortune 500. Every room you go into, whether it's academia, industry, corporate, foundations, the military, is overwhelmingly run by white men.
But you know why they're mad though, Sophia? The reason they're mad is they want that. They want to have all the money, all the opportunity, all the CEO gigs, all the jobs they want. And number one, they don't want to have to earn it. They want to get it because they show up. And number two, they don't want to have to feel bad about it. They don't want to be told that history shows that they have what they have because of theft. They don't want to hear that. They want to feel good about having everything. They don't want to have to think about history, think about us, think about civil rights, think about Jim Crow. They don't want to think about history because when they look at history, if they were honest with themselves, they would know that most of what they have is theft by their ancestors that was passed down to them, and they don't want to think about that. They want to believe that they have that it's a meritocracy because that's the only way they can have self-esteem. If you are Pete Hegseth, you need to believe that what you're doing is a meritocracy, not a mediocrity. You cannot accept that you are a mediocre white dude who is completely unqualified for your job. You need to believe that the Black 4-star general only got his job because he was Black, but not you. These people are in the, and that's why I said it's racism and envy. There's an envy when a person that didn't bother to elevate themselves because they didn't have to, because society said you didn't have to work hard in school. You're a white man, you get it anyway. But then when you see that excellent Black woman who clawed her way to the top, became a CEO or became the president of Harvard, and you watch her shine, what you feel deep in your heart is envy. And you feel that how dare she surpass me? How dare she get into Harvard? How dare she run that company? How dare she have a $60 million Netflix deal? How dare she have what I want? And because they've been taught that they don't have to do much, that they get it just by existing, they can't accept that we don't get it just by existing. They're projecting onto Black women mainly and Black men that we must have gotten what we have just by being Black, because they've gotten what they have just by being white. The reality is, how we get where we are is we have to work 10 times hard. Our parents all told us that. They don't. They don't have to work 10 times hard. They just have to have an uncle who's so-and-so, get them a hookup. They just have to have a friend that's so-and-so's. They're getting hookups and thinking that they are geniuses. You know what I mean? You're at third base and thought you hit a triple. But we have to claw our way to third base. Then you're mad that we're on third base. You're like, you took my base. It's like, no, I clawed my way to that damn base.
And again, Joy is not talking out of school here. You're talking about a woman who's brilliant, went to Harvard, and is just an amazingly smart, brilliant woman who.
And I had to have a junior college dropout tell me that I stole my spot at Harvard from a white man, the late Charlie Kirk. And that not only did I steal my spot at Harvard from a white man, he couldn't accept or believe that I could have deserved to go to Harvard, or that Mrs. Obama deserved to go to Harvard, or that Sheila Jackson Lee, or Ketanji Brown freaking Jackson. They can't, it blows their mind to think that Ketanji Brown Jackson could actually just be a brilliant genius that made it onto the court by her merit. In their mind, everybody Black that has something got it just because they're Black. They can't accept it because they got what they have just because they're white.
Jackie, I think an important thing, though, I think we've all talked about what's broken, what's wrong, and we could go on and on and on as three Black women of our generation, and we've been blessed in many ways. But the reality is, if you take the three of us and you take three of our white female age cohorts, everything being equal, and you look at where some of them are, and you look at where similarly situated Black women are, and what we've had to do to, again, Joy being her brilliant self on MS every day and telling the truth like others on that network do that are still there, but somehow Joy had to go. Joy was saying too much or doing too much or irritating. I don't know what it was. But my point is, I want to speak to this next generation. Say, you're listening to three Black women talk because we've lived life now. And we got more to go for sure. But we got to pass this baton to all of you. And the way forward has to be a couple things. One, educate yourself and know your history. You are not, I've heard a lot of young people in their 20s and 30s say, there's no more racism. I'm talking about Black ones, not just the white ones. Absolutely believe that because they grew up with Black kids. They go to school with them. They're friends with them. They date them. They don't see racism. I had a young white woman tell me, who's a medical student, why would you need a voting rights act? Look at you. You're brilliant. You're a lawyer. They do this all the time. In their mind, one Joy Ann Reid means all the Black people's problems are solved in the world. That's their mindset.
Well, Barack Obama, once he became president,
or Colin Powell, or whoever, we go on and on. But young people of this generation, I need you to understand, you're in the fight of your life right now, because the rights that all of us here were born with, because we're all born after the Civil Rights Act, after the Voting Rights Act, we're all born after those things. We kind of inherited that, and we're kind of what I call the Cosby generation, right? We're the first ones to be able to go to med school, law school, the Ivies, all that kind of stuff, and get these degrees and make big six-figure salaries, etc. But all of that is being rolled back in real time. And I think it's so important that we say to this next generation, who I dedicated the book to, you have got to wage this fight. You have got to take this country back for your generation, and you have to redefine freedom to mean something bigger than we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. That is a great notion, Thomas Jefferson, as you wrote it while you owned hundreds of other enslaved people. And then you had a concubine that you had 6 kids with who was Black. So there's this contradiction, right, of our beginning. And at 250, I didn't just want us to sit here and sing Kumbaya and say how great we are. I wanted us to actually take a hard look and say, where are we actually at 250? And what does it look like for the people who were disenfranchised at the beginning of this story? Have they made progress? Sure. Are things different? Somewhat. But every day, I think it's fair to say we're seeing those gains rolled back in real time at very rapid speed.
It's very scary. Sophia, we love you so much, and we're glad that you could take the time for this very important conversation. The book is Redefining Freedom, Thoughts on Bridging Divides and Renewing the American Promise at 250.
I
Wow.
love you both. Thank you for having me.
Love
Thank
you, girl. Thank you, Sophia.
Bye.
Bye, girl.
Y'all, if you go to our bookstore, you can buy Sophia's book. Look at
it's the cat guarding you over your shoulder that is killing. It's taking me out. The cat is like, I'm just making sure you all right, girl.
That's
And look,
the
I don't know
one
what's going
girl.
on, but y'all said y'all talking about white people, and that means I don't know if you were being threatened, but I just say I'm just here. I'm just gonna sit here quiet. I'm gonna lick myself, just make sure I'm clean. Hold on, second, clean myself. Hold on, I'm a little dirty. Hold on. Ooh, I got a yawn. Ooh, it's been a long day. Oh yes, let me clean my arm. Ooh, Lord, do they see me doing it? Ooh.
We have to do another. We need to let the people know about Baskin Leather again, and we need script number 2, Joyanne, the one where I start. Do you have that one?
You giving all the insight, girl. Go ahead.
Guys, we got to do it right.
Do
And
it
last
right.
time you started with the wrong script, so this is the one where I start. Are you ready?
No.
Okay. Girl, let me tell you something that really kind of makes me ashamed. I spent years trying to learn how to get my hair right. And you know it. I've complained about it. I'm still learning.
Yes.
But girl, I think I done discovered a little product called Baskin Leather that y'all can see right there that is helping me turn this corner.
I understand you and everybody else, you and me both, you've been through my hair journey. The beauty industry spent decades telling us that one size fits all was fine, and it was never fine, as all of you know. The moment that you start using products that are especially formulated for your own hair type, that you a 4C, need a 4C, it's like, oh, this is what my hair was supposed to feel like.
That's exactly what happened when I started using Baskin Leather. And y'all have heard us talk about it every time we talk about this company. It's a Black-owned family business. Their origin story is one you actually need to hear. The CEO's younger sister was told by a dermatologist that her hair might never grow back. I mean, listen, when it comes to edges, and a lot of people have been there, you hear that it's not going to grow back. Instead of accepting that, Shayna, the CEO, and her mother researched and created their own hair and scalp formula. Now the sister's hair is down her backside.
Amen. And that is just the kind of brand that we love to support, and the products back it up. The hydrating hair mist, which is actually my favorite, and the aloe vera and avocado oil, which is good for the edges, has been incredible. It's great for moisture. It's great for frizz, because I hear my thing will get frizzy if I don't keep it nice and moist and curly, right? And it works with protective styles, locks, twists, braids, whatever you are rocking.
Yeah, and one of my favorites is the stimulating scalp and hair balm. It's all natural, no petroleum, no lanolin. It doesn't leave any greasy residue, which is I love. I just put some on before I came and sat down here and started the show.
I did too. Oh my
God! Listen, girl, I love these products. It actually penetrates your strand, and when you use it consistently, people are seeing real results in about 3 months, and that's fast. Now, the before and afters on the Baskin Leather website, go there and see it for yourself. They're not playing games. You can see, how the things have changed for people, how the hair has changed.
100%. I packed my little Baskin Leather in my bag when I went to New York recently, made sure it was in my bag, and I brought it right home with me because I like travel with it now because it's amazing. Stronger hair, less breakage, more shine, and it started with a family who refused to give up on each other. That is Bask and Lather. That's B-A-S-K and Lather. I know folks were asking in the chat. B-A-S-K and Lather.
Yes. And if you want to try these products, we have a special discount for you going on right now. You just tell them that you know us, and here's how you do that. Go to baskandlatherco.com and use the code RTRT for 20% off.
That's correct. 20% off at baskandlatherco.com. Code RTRT for read this, read that. That's what
Boop, boop. Yep. I love
And by
it.
the way, I got Baskin Lather to go back to my little wine. Now, guess what was in the gift bag when they gave us a girl? Why was the gift bag Baskin Lather mini? So now I got some minis in my bag too.
Oh,
And I had brought my big bottles, and I'm like, I got more Baskin Lather. And they gave me a little mini of the spritz, and they gave me a little of the hair balm. I was like, come on, go sister.
Every company needs to do that. I want a mini of everything.
Yes.
With a little refill funnel and all that little refill
and let me refill
spoon
it.
that I could scoop. Like I need a whole kit for that.
Yes, a little travel kit size of everything.
When I have to take a product that I love that's too big to take on the plane, because I would take the whole big size.
No, because they will take it.
Yeah, they'll take it. So I have to find something to put it in, or packing it can be such a hassle. So yeah, I love a mini. I love a
100%.
gift bag mini, because then you can try stuff out, but you already know it's amazing.
But yeah, you can try it out if you're not sure. They should always sell a mini of everything so you can try it out. Yeah, it's very important. But anyway,
I agree.
Geez.
Well, with Sophia, we really talked about politics and redistricting a bit, but we want to let you all know that this Saturday, May the 16th, there is a humongous rally happening in Montgomery, Alabama. All roads lead to the South. It is something that is growing by the day, by the hour. So many people want to go, and it's in reaction to this attack on the Voting Rights Act by the Republican Party, partnering with the Supreme Court basically to get this done. And now we are really in trouble heading into the midterms. And to fight back against this, Sophia just talked about it. We got to get to the polls, you guys. And this is a part of that. We are not going to take this sitting down, and we should not. Now we got to get up. Now we got to get up and really get involved. And this is part of that. Ray, and I know you've been a big part in kind of, not with the messaging, but getting the word out.
Yeah, and we're trying to get the word out. We want to make sure that everybody, if you can't go, we're going to stream it on this channel. I'm also going to be streaming it on the Joy Reid Show channel. So we're trying to make sure as many people stream it as possible. Lots of Black content producers that names and love. Roland Martin is spearheading the Stream Key, sort of the Stream, gang that we're all going to do it. He wants to make sure there are at least 20 different outlets streaming it. So Garrison Hayes is going to stream it on his YouTube and on his socials. We're going to stream it. So it's going to be kind of everywhere that you know and love. And we're still working on, I'm not say we, don't say we, because Jackie said, don't be taking no more jobs. This is not my thing. I'm just promoting it, but we love LaTosha Brown, Cliff Albright. Black Voters Matter is a big part of it. Janae Nelson at LDF is a big part of it. Karen Finney, who's ex-DNC chair. It's like a bunch of people and they're all getting together. This is somebody's asking, is Don streaming it too? I just texted Don about it yesterday, so he's working on getting it up on the Don Lemon Show channel as well. So I literally just texted Don about this yesterday. He went to the Webbies. I didn't go, but he was at the Webbies, honey. So he wasn't there, but he responded to me. So hopefully it'll be on Don Lemon's channel as well. So yes, everywhere.
And there's some great information, you guys, on what's going on. If you go to allroadsleadtothe.com, go there. Really, there's great research information, because you not only want to understand it for yourself, you want to be able to talk about it amongst your family and friends. This is really what it's going to take. Especially now what happened in Virginia. We were just talking about it. The Democrats are not winning this redistricting thing. What we thought was a lead is now diminished. And I'm not very hopeful that things are going to go in our favor when everything plays out because of how the Democrats play by the book. I mean, we just don't know. And it's too much of a risk now.
It's not up to them, though. I mean, to me, I don't have a lot of faith in Democratic Party, the DCCC, or the D. I don't. But I do think people are mad as hell, and I think despite themselves, they may still wind up. I think Republicans still have. I'd still rather be the Democrats than the Republicans going into November, because the economy is just getting worse. I promise you. I took a picture of it. Let me see if I get this picture here. I just filled my tank up, and I've never paid this much. Not at any time during the pandemic have I paid this much to fill up my tank. This is insane.
Was it $58?
Let's see, here it is. $5.69. Y'all see it there? I don't know if y'all can see it. $5.69 for premium, because I'm trying to keep my car, in good shape. So $5.69 is what I pay. Can y'all see that? $5.69. That is more than the pandemic. That is unbelievable. So
Yeah.
we're talking about, and that is not going to get better because the Strait of Hormuz is still closed. We still at war with Iran. And Trump, by the way, the strategic oil reserve, we didn't get time. It runs out in September. Good luck, America. Done. Out of oil. Boop.
Yeah.
Done. So good luck.
Yeah, but that's why voting is so important. I mean, the primaries are going on here in Georgia. We're in early voting. I
Yes,
didn't go
please
today
vote.
because I had to take my dog to the vet, but I will be going tomorrow and getting that done. Friday is the last day in Georgia for early voting.
Please vote.
And then the election is on Tuesday, and
Yeah.
Keisha Lance Bottoms is in the primary for governor.
Yeah.
It's interesting things going on online with people saying, "Don't vote for her." This is why it's almost like it feels like a campaign from
It's
Black
probably.
people against her. It feels like that.
Yeah, and it's like vote and then vote for who? You know what I mean? It's like Democrats undermine themselves. Look, bottom line, y'all better make sure that there is a Democratic governor of the state of Georgia so y'all can get your bodily autonomy back, so you can get your rural hospitals back. Those Republicans have done you no good, and they don't mean you no good, and they're going to redistrict the hell out of Georgia if they control Georgia in the next session, the next legislative session. He just delayed it, but they're going to do it. And the reality is, if you want to go to, by the way, to Montgomery, there are buses going from all over the South. So if you want to get a bus and be in Montgomery yourself, there are buses leaving from everywhere. Just go to allroadsleadtothe.south.com. You can get information on buses. And I'm telling you, they're going to eviscerate Georgia if you let these Republicans. Brian Kemp is not a good guy. He just is smarter than the other. He's not like a knuckle dragger like some of these other Republican governors, like DeSantis and that fool in Louisiana. He's not stupid like them. He's subtle. And so what he'll do is he'll wait until after the smoke clears, and then he's still going to do that gerrymander. He's going to do it. He's just waiting because he's smarter than them. He's
Yeah.
just a slight bit smarter than the average MAGA.
Yeah. And with our ballots, there's no party on there.
Right.
That's so you got to know the names of who you're voting for. You can't just go there and, vote blue or vote Republican or vote Democrat.
You got to
You
pick.
got to know.
Vote
You
for
have to know
Keisha,
the
y'all. First of all, if y'all like, well, she's this, she's that, name one of these Republicans who you think is a good governor. You think
Right.
Kay Ivey is a good governor? She's 147 years old in Alabama, can barely walk. That she got in. You got Tommy Tuberville is an idiot, and he's a United States Senator in Alabama. People vote for people all the time who she may not be perfect, but you're going to be better off with her.
Yeah, we got to be more strategic and take our emotion out of it. That's what the Republicans do, and that's why they win the way that they do. They are strategic with their
They
vote.
hate Trump, and they still vote for him and
Or
let
they
him do
can't
whatever
stand
he
that man,
wants.
but they know that they can get more done with him in office, and that's the way you have to think about it. You have to, people will say, "I'm not voting for Keisha Lance Bottoms," but they haven't even looked into the other candidates, and it's for the stupidest reasons. She didn't run for re-election. Okay,
Come on,
no
so
context to anything, and that's why you're not voting her, because she didn't run for. I mean, really?
And
so you wanted more of her,
right,
as mayor. So now you're not going to make it make sense.
And the bottom line is, again, you are not voting for somebody to move in your house. I used to say this about Hillary. Hillary was not my first choice either to be president. But once it's her, you're not voting for her to move in. She's not going to be your roommate. She's not going to come live in your house and cook for you and be in your house and you have to see her every day. You are voting for a manager. A governor manages the state. They are going to proceed. They're going to basically preside over the legislature, come up with the ideas of how your state's going to be managed. They definitely control who gets contracts. You think you're going to get more contracts from her if you're a Black business, or you think you're going to get more contracts from some Republican? Think about that. Just think in your mind, who's going to be more accessible to you when you need something? If you need something in your community, who's more likely to give a damn there's a pothole in your neighborhood? Keisha Lance Bottoms. That's not her job. She's not a mayor, but she's in charge of everything. She's the executive. She's going to decide how the police are going to proceed at the state level. This is a manager you're hiring, not your friend. If you don't like her personally, so what? She's a Black woman and she's a Democrat. That's 3, 1, 2, 3. She Black, she a woman, she a Democrat. That's better than all the other people on there, no matter what you think about Keisha Lance Bottoms. There's some Black women you should not vote for because they're MAGA, they're right wing, they're like a Nicki Minaj type, whatever. Don't vote for them. But this lady is a decent Democrat. She was in the Biden administration. I don't see nothing wrong with her. If you're not voting for Keisha Lance Bottoms, make it make sense. You got to explain to me why.
Make it
This is
make
a Black
sense.
woman. Come on, make it make sense. If you're a Black woman not voting for her, I can't help you.
But I love that you said that she, it's not like these candidates are moving into your house if they win. We have to, and I said it before, we have to be more strategic. I told you a girlfriend of mine when she was having reservations about voting for Kamala Harris, and she really not even have a reservation. She was like, nah. And I was like, well, why? I just didn't like her having Meg Thee Stallion twerking. I was like, seriously. Seriously? And there were a lot of women and men that were put out by that. I'm like, who gives a flying crap? What do you care?
Is Megan Thee Stallion gonna twerk at your house and twerk on you? Is she inviting Megan Thee Stallion to come twerk on you? No, you're never gonna meet Megan Thee Stallion. You're never gonna meet Megan Thee Stallion. I just went to see her in Moulin Rouge. Did I meet Megan Thee Stallion? No, I didn't. She was on stage, like way over there. I didn't get to meet her.
But people making decisions on the stupidest things based on misinformation that they got off the internet. And it's like, come on, y'all, you may not be able to make it to Montgomery this weekend because this came together fast. I'm really excited and proud of the people who put this together so quickly. And I'm excited that there's this fire. And I really need for the Democratic Party, whether they're waiting on them to save us or not, we do need them to get it together. I really wish that they would, because it would be helpful in this fight.
You got to be, and this is your time to exercise your power. The primaries are when you have your most power. You're going to get stuck with a Democrat that's second rate in that general if you don't act now. Go in the primaries, you pick your fighter that's when you really have power. The primary is all your power. In the general, you're stuck because then they go, well, it's either this or Republican. Right. It's this or Republican. Now you're stuck. Make the decision in the primary, winnow the field to somebody you can feel good about voting for in the general. The primary is actually the most important thing. And so at the end, you're like, I'm stuck now because it's Hillary, but I didn't vote in the primary. People who are mad that Joe Biden was the nominee, Kamala was there, that Julian Castro, you had Buttigieg, you had 20 choices and y'all didn't vote. And then Biden was the nominee. You're like, oh man, well, you should have voted in the primary. Now you're stuck. It's either Biden or Trump. Pick one of them. You got to pick one. So it's like, you had Warren, right? You had Liz Warren, y'all. Y'all said, nah, you didn't want to come out and you could have had Warren, but you didn't vote for her. So now you're stuck. It's Biden. Just vote for the man. And that's the same thing with Kamala. It was either her or the guy who's best friends with the worst pedophile in history, who said he wanted to grab women by the P-U-S-S-Y.
Yeah. And we were dumbfounded when he won that first time. Second time too, but the first time I was like, "There's no way they're electing."
No way. I didn't know. I said that man. He said,
"No way."
I said, "No, honey, ain't no way." How do we know, girl? Anyway, I gotta go. I gotta get my dog. I gotta get the dog from daycare. I gotta get the dog from daycare.
We appreciate you guys joining us for this episode of Read This, Read That. Big thank you to J. Anthony Brown, who joined us really at the last minute, which was why he was at the hotel. He and his artwork. And Sophia Nelson, please go to our bookstore and you can check out her new book, which is not in front of me, but it is a very Redefining Freedom: Thoughts on Bridging Divides and Renewing the American Promise at 250. Go to our shop and buy her book. And
let's thank LaWanna Larson. Welcome to our new member, LaWanna Larson. We had so many people join today on the show. Thank you very much. It's the doors of the church were open and we had some members come through. Thank you for all our new cousins. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Much love to you all. And we will see y'all in the private cousin chats.
Yes, we will. Coming up soon. Listen, we'll do the quick and dirty. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment, tell a friend, support us here. Click the join button to be a part of our fun membership. We have so many amazing things. Go to our shop. Our book club pick is real. Go and get it. Read it. The book club meeting is May 28th, and that will be private for the book babes and the editorial board. Meanwhile, go to joyandread.com to find all things Joy and Read. We're trying to get, if you're not subscribed to her YouTube channel, go there. We're trying to get to a certain number ASAP, so go and do that. Y'all can follow me on JackieRead.com or vegansexycool.com or the JackieReadExperience.com.
And scene. Y'all, thank you for joining us. God bless you and good night. Go watch Dawn.
You got to go get your baby.
I got to go get my